Okay. Can you hear me now? Probably. Hold on. Carol, how's the audio? Can you hear me? All is good? Oh, okay, good. They can hear me now. On here, but I have another show up. Okay, so I don't know, maybe Carol or Carmel or Mr. Smith, can you go over to the other show, the one that says vote on it? There's people over there. I put 2 up by mistake. Can you have them come over here? Tell them to come over to this one. This is the show that has the plant stands on it, you know, in the thumbnail. The thumbnail is plants. Okay. I'm just getting. Oh, good. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, great. He's going to fix that. Thank you. I'm a baby at this right now, so I'm still new. So we're going to have a little bit of technical glitches here and there, I'm sure. Okay, so hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right with you. Here you go, Chuck. I'm just getting Chuck set up here, and then we'll be on our way.
You probably have to.
There you go.
Feedback.
Okay. Maybe if I let you in, hold on.
Tons of feedback.
I'm going to put you in the show. All right, I'm going to add him to the show. Let's see if it does it. There you go. Nope, still kind of mutes, right?
Yeah, it's echoing.
Well, unmute yourself and see what happens. Touch the mic. You're not doing it.
I don't see a mic. Not sure, yeah.
All right, I'm going to take you
I'll
out.
get it. Take me out.
Okay, we're going to remove him. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. I was trying to get him to go on. I guess he's going to have to just sit next to me. Okay, everybody, hold on. I'm gonna start the camera. Hey, hello, guys. How are you? What'd you guys do? Meet the YouTube window to eliminate the feedback if you both have YouTube and StreamYard open. Oh, okay. I'm learning. Okay. So that's how you do it. You have to mute the YouTube, I guess. So you have to, I wonder if he goes directly into StreamYard, is that okay? Anyway, I get it. I get it.
Don't worry about it right now. I can always pop behind you.
Yeah, he's going to pop next to me instead. Okay. It'll be better. How's everybody doing? Let's see who we got here. We got Mr. Smith. We've got Carol. We got Jason. Hello. Seymour Scagnetti. Hello. Jason again. Cremel. Hello, my friend. Let's see who else. So far, so good. Oh, we got Chuck. Chuck says hello. Oh, hi, Susie. How are you? You found me. Yay, you found me. I know. I put up one of the shows was on YouTube, and the other show was on the StreamYard. So I like StreamYard better. So that's why there's two. I'm still learning. So I think I'm going to get a C or a D tonight. Hi, Angel. How are you, honey? How's everything going? I hope the baby's okay. You need a rest, relaxation. Let's see, Susie. Okay, you got Carol. You can press the link whenever you want. Mr. Smith, you can press the link whenever you want. Whoever wants to come on with me. Easy, Chunky Chunko. Oh, Chunky Chunkos, Trump 2024. Okay, here we go. We'll see. I'll let some more people get in. See if I get any more people. We got 13. That's good. Arlene, Dave T from Boston. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Arlene, how are you? Hi, Arlene. Hi, Susie. I'm so glad you guys are here. This is cool. So I'm just getting my tea in my Slambovian mug. I love this guy. He sings really good. He's a local artist from around here. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. It looks dark in here, doesn't it? Let's see. Let me get the fan, but who cares? So, how's everybody doing? How's it going? How's everybody's life been? Ryan's doing good. Seymour. Ryan's doing really good. Ryan has been rehabbing 6 days a week. And I mean, how many months now? A month and a half, 2 months?
July 3rd.
So
it's
2 months.
It's like
Over 2 months.
It's almost 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm. And he says he's feeling really good. He lost a little weight, so that's good too. Because, you know, when you're laying around, he's not really too active except going for the rehab. So that's good. And it's all core. He's doing all core. So he's getting there. And they expect him to come back earlier than expected. So that's good too. That's good too. So yeah, everybody's doing well. Everybody's doing what they got to do. Here's Chucky wants to say hi.
Hi. Yeah, Ryan is doing very, very well from what he tells me. He has eyes on him all the time. He is getting in better shape probably than he ever has been because he's able to not have to pitch.
Hi, Paul.
And he can concentrate on the core and strengthening up everything he needs to strengthen. He's getting a lot of motion in his right arm already. Things are really looking good. He's kind of excited. He's supposed to start throwing the baseball in December. And Yeah, there's been no setbacks. He's with a bunch of other guys that have had Tommy John, which is pretty crazy.
Hi, Chunky Chunko.
But he's doing very, very well. So, and it's hot in Arizona.
Oh, this is San Francisco. My son, he pitches for the minor leagues in the San Francisco organization. That's what this is. It's the spring. This is the spring training hat. But I have a Mets shirt on today because the Mets won 9 in a row. Yeah, go Mets. Anyway, I know a lot of you are Yankee fans. We're baseball fans. How's that?
No.
We like baseball. Oh, Chuck goes, no. No.
I'm not a Yankee hater.
Oh, we're not Yankee haters. No, we don't hate any baseball teams, really. We just like the sport.
That's right. And teams in the National League East, we don't like them either.
Teams in the National League East, you don't like them either? Okay.
Because we're competing against them.
I know. We'll see if my son ends up on this side. Right? That's my other son. And his girlfriend.
Hi. Me?
No, we're live on YouTube right now.
We're on YouTube. Yeah. So come on in. You can get on. Go on in.
They're watching sports downstairs. Okay, so what do we got here? So Carol, can you press the link and come on? And let's see if I can get you in here. And if I could get you in here. Oh, there's Mr. Smith. Thank you. Hey, how's it going?
How you guys
We
doing?
have to come down to see you. We want to look around down there for some place to live.
The mountains or the beach?
Well, maybe not in the mountains. You said the mountains are a bitch, right? Yeah.
In the wintertime, yeah, they suck. Yeah.
We know that.
The
Yeah, we
beach,
know
not so
that.
much. The beach isn't bad in the winter, honestly.
Yeah.
Delaware, yeah, it's not bad because all the salt water in the air and stuff. Yeah, it's
I
not
love
bad. You don't
that.
get
I
much snow.
love that. I don't go in the ocean, but I like to be near the sound, the smell. I like all that. It's very,
Oh,
it's very tranquil. Yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah,
very tranquil.
absolutely. Yeah, it's changed. It's changed a lot, but by development, and population, traffic, things like that, it's all increased. But it's still better than living in a city or anything like that, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Carol!
Hi, sweetie. Hi, 556.
Hey, Carol, how are you?
I'm good. How's everybody?
Good.
Good. So we're I just wanted to get everybody together because I just want to have a little bit of discussion. We were talking the other night, amongst ourselves and around the campfire type of thing, around the table. And just about the world and the situation, that it's in today and the election and, we're independents. We're no here or there. So we're independents. And all the stuff that's going on. And exactly whatever candidate you want, what do you want from whatever candidate you're going to be voting for? I mean, what actually do you want for yourself, for this candidate to do for you as a person, as a family, at your job, the whole nine? Because
People.
I don't know. I find it really hard. It's just tough. I mean, because every time you vote for somebody I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you, I'll get this done for you, I'll get that done for you, and none of it gets done. It just seems like none of it gets done. The price of food and the price of gas and all that stuff, just to make a middle class family work, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I just wanted your opinion on what would you want from your candidate? Because you don't have to specifically say who you're going to vote for. It really doesn't matter at this
It's not a
point.
political platform.
Yeah.
I'll say who I want to, who I'm going to vote for, but I'll give reasons why. I'll let Carol go first because her and I we've had this discussion a couple of times in recent weeks. So I'll let her take the floor first.
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right, Carol, go ahead. Tell us what you would want from your well, not your constituent, but your president as a constituent.
I want the border vetted and checked because I'm worried about the children that are coming through that are being sex trafficked.
Yeah.
I want somebody to deal with the economy. They have to do something with the oil situation here because this country is sitting on a ton of oil.
Mm-hmm.
And they went in the last 3.5 years and depleted our supply to sell it elsewhere. Meanwhile,
that's what I heard.
we're buying from other countries. Okay?
Yeah.
The other thing I'm looking for is just freaking start caring about the middle class because what they forget, the rich really don't care because they've got the money. The poor don't have it. So all the tax money that's generated is generated through the middle class.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that feel it the most.
Right. If it wasn't for the middle class, I don't think anybody would be around.
No, you just have poor and rich.
Right. Right.
Okay? And the other thing that I'm concerned about is my grandchildren's future and my children. But my grandchildren more specifically, because I care what they're going to teach my grandchild in school.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go
you know
back-
that now because you could see when she comes home from school what she's been. There's a lot of things that have been dismissed from the curriculum.
The curriculum.
The curriculums from school.
That's right.
Right.
I seen the math that she's being taught. And I'm like, what kind of sense does this make? What happens to basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division? She had to do a math problem where she had to put 20 sticks, draw 20 sticks physically on the paper, and then draw 5 sticks, and then give the answer in sticks.
Right.
What happened to numerals? What
it's
are you
almost like
people thinking?
Yeah, it's the same thing as remember now. I mean, I don't remember we were taught the time in school, like half past, quarter past.
Yes.
The whole they don't know anything about that. They don't know anything about that. How about counting change back to a person? They don't know anything about that.
No, she worked on change. You know how many lessons she had on change last year?
There's a sniper shooter.
2.
Lucky right now.
2. 2 lessons on counting change.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Yeah. The
Well, with debit cards now, you don't need change. You don't have to worry about cash and change.
No, I know exactly. Well, again, okay, so there you go with the currency now. So, I mean, what do you got? What's your take on crypto? You think it's going to turn that way?
No,
I hope not.
I think it's bogus.
A lot of people do. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people think it's just one of those things like everybody's getting into it and then all of a sudden it's going to bottom out.
Well, the big thing now is they're putting up Bitcoin ATMs, and these scammers are taking a real big advantage of it because you put in cash into the machine. It's like a reverse ATM. You put in cash, and you're paying.
Oh, and you get Bitcoin okay, yeah.
Right, but Bitcoins don't exist in the real world. It's just like this.
Right.
And people are shoving cash.
Yes.
Yeah, they're shoving cash. Bitcoin
ATMs,
and they're getting taken for it was like $65 million last year alone, I think.
Wow,
Something like that.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked cash cash in your pocket. I see somebody else said that too. Jason did. Yeah.
On the same note, Teresa, it's always good to have stash of cash and not in the bank. You don't have to worry about withdrawing. So you have a stash of cash,
right,
in a secure place, so you always have access to it in case of emergency.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. The old under the mattress.
Yeah, the old under the mattress thing. Yeah.
Hey, I had an uncle that pulled up the wood flooring and used to hide it in there.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's tons of places that people hide their cash, which, I mean, yeah, it's just, I'm just wondering, oh, you know, they're saying on one side, they're saying it's going to be obsolete. And the other side's saying it's going to crash. And people are
Well,
going to be all
Well, if the
scammed with
internet,
this.
if the internet and the banks crash and you can't get access to your money, how do you get
Exactly. How do you get your money?
Right.
your
Yeah.
money?
Have a stash. Like, yeah. I've got paper and coin
You should.
stash as a
Yeah,
back.
you should. You
But
should.
also you can use the coins for trade because they're made of different various metals. So
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you could possibly invest and buy some gold, you should really do that.
barter and trade when you got to.
That's right. Exactly.
Very good.
That's very good. Very good. Okay, so Arlene said there's a sniper in Kentucky right now. Is that true, Mr. Smith?
Yes, I got a message from Edwin talking about it, saying that they, and I checked the news out. They've got the highways closed off,
I gotta do it.
and it's an active shooter. That's
Oh
all
my
the
goodness.
information they have.
Unbelievable. We were just talking about the school shootings too. The school shootings. What do you think? Okay, Mr. Smith being an ex
Mhm.
law enforcement, what can they do? What are they going to do about this?
The shooting, there's a
No,
shooting in Kentucky.
They know
right
that.
now.
They know that. But I'm just saying, school shootings. How can they prevent these people from entering the schools? Now, I remember they used to put metal detectors in. Are they going to start that all over again?
I have a video I can post about metal detectors or the lack of metal detectors. There was a educational video created by not a police department, surprisingly, but just an institution to educate safety and education.
Right.
They had a young man, a young teenager, and they showed how many weapons he could possess upon his person just walking into a school. He pulled out literally well over a dozen guns and things from his, that were concealed. You couldn't just see them.
Wow.
They were concealed. And that was a very interesting,
Enlightening. Yeah.
video. But I don't think metal detectors are the full answer. I think, and the problem too is they've taken a lot of the SROs, the school resource officers, out of schools nationwide.
They've taken them out.
Yeah, nationwide, because
What?
all the anti-police, defund the police, and
Oh,
even
really? I didn't know that they took them out nationwide. I knew because that particular school, the one in Georgia. I
Well,
thought that there was resource.
they had two there.
Okay.
But I'm saying nationwide, a lot of my agency, my large agency that I retired from, Borders Washington D.C., they pulled them. They got rid of them for a while, and now they're begging to have them back because of all the problems they're having in schools. We lost Carol.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back.
Oh, there's, but
No, I'm here.
yeah, but there were two school resource officers there. If I'm correct in what I read and heard, that they were the ones that actually apprehended the kid.
Yes, they did. They did. They did. And I think this is one of the first shooters that they actually apprehended besides no. Did the one in Connecticut die too?
Yes.
Did he die?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this is one of the first ones that they actually captured to question and stuff. And then
They got the one in Florida, in Broward too. The one in Florida, they got him after he walked away from the school. They took him down a little bit of distance away from the school. They got him.
Right. Okay, good. But I'm just because a bunch of my friends are like, we're petrified to send our kids to school. We're just petrified.
No.
So I'm like, I don't even know what is the answer besides more resource. Well, they're going to have to probably implement. They're going to have to try to just reinstate all those officers or do something.
A lot of it comes down to local, county, and state funding too. So
That's what I thought.
to
Yeah.
pay for the security features like the bullet resistant glass, the metal detectors, the security, private security or county. In my case, it was county security. They were actually employed by the county school system as security officers. A lot of them are former cops,
Yeah.
things like that. it's a matter of funding too. So that takes a lot into account. But even in this case, there are SROs, school resource officers on scene, and this still happened.
No,
Like
I
you're
know.
saying,
Yeah.
How do you?
How did that happen? How did
Yeah.
he get in there with that gun? I don't.
It was a lack of.
This is
Well,
bizarre.
they don't check every backpack that comes
Well,
in.
that's why I'm thinking the metal detectors are going to have to go back in. I mean, we have metal detectors over here in our high school. They have
Now,
them
You
there.
know how you go through TSA and you put your bag on a conveyor
Yeah.
belt?
Well,
They're-
they're going to have to
But
do that.
how that's not very cost effective.
No, it's not cost effective, but
But-
I mean, for the safety
But the
of the
federal government
kids.
could step in and.
Yeah.
and-
Well, like he says, it's going to happen at a local level, which means guess what? Taxpayers are paying for that.
Now
Right.
remember
I
too,
think
the
people need-
FBI. This kid was on the FBI's watch list because he was making like online threats. They contacted that local county sheriff's department. They actually interviewed the father, one of the guns he used,
Yeah.
and the kid.
Right. Or, yeah.
And at first, the father was kind of belligerent with the sheriff's deputies, the investigators, following up from the FBI tip.
Mhm.
And they kind of, and I'm not ashamed to admit, law enforcement f's up all the time.
Mm.
And they effed up in this case because they didn't really follow through. They just did interviews and kind of like wrote a report and then did away with it.
Wow.
And they knew they had documentation of this kid making online threats, posts online threatening, and then they did an interview. The father was kind of belligerent at first with the deputies doing the interview. The kid even said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I know it was wrong, blah blah blah." So both of them admitted, like, yeah, he did that. And then why didn't there something else happen after that? Like, why wasn't there some type of follow through with that? There wasn't.
Right.
Now we're here. It's crazy.
It is. It's nuts. It's nuts because one right after the other. Now I hope not. Knock on wood. But I just feel like we're going to keep on hearing this crap.
We just had one in Maryland, up in Hartford County.
Yeah, was it Jossip? No.
Yeah, Jessuptown, something like that. Yeah, Hartford County. But yeah, but it was it was a school shooting, but it was a one-on-one type of thing. It was a fight.
Right. It was one kid killing another kid, but still,
Right.
how did he get in there with the gun?
Right. Exactly.
How did he get in there with the gun?
No,
unbelievable. In the elementary schools, I'm not saying that the high schools are any different, but it's pathetic. Something's got to get done.
So we had a problem on our end for my agency with our county public school system because they're separate entities. They're both fall under the county, but the county public schools versus the county police, they have their own separate policies and procedures. They're funded separately and things like that. We had a big problem where even if we had school resource officers there, they had a policy that says, okay, well, you're not allowed to interview this student until we contact the parent. Like if a crime was committed or things like that, and a school resource officer or just a police officer was called there, we have to notify the parent, and then you have to get permission, and the laws changed too.
Right.
So cops' hands were tied in a lot of cases. And now, if you're under a certain age in Maryland, like there's a kid going around breaking into car dealerships who's like 13 years old in Montgomery County, Maryland, stealing cars left and right. Every time he gets caught, they can't question him, and they have to release him automatically to his parents. And the very next day he goes back, or the very next night, actually, he goes back and does the same.
It's done. See that there's got to be something that we can.
Right.
There's got to be something. You can't let it keep happening all the time, right? There's got to be a certain point where they say, all right, enough is enough. Let's,
It all comes back. The bottom line, Teresa and Carol, it comes back to F the police, defund the police. We don't need police. And then when they figure out that they change the laws and they change policies and procedures, then they find out, you know what? We might have been wrong. We actually kind of need the police. Well, too late.
Yeah.
That's why police departments can't find people to hire anymore.
Right. That's true. There's a lot of them they get hired and they quit like a month later.
Yeah.
They quit.
Yeah. And I don't blame them, honestly.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so that was a very concerning thing. I was
What I
pretty disturbed about that. And I'm sure Carol too, with her granddaughter, going into school.
not only that, what I don't understand is
Yeah, Arlene says the parents should be put in jail. Well, that guy, that kid, that 13-year-old kid, right? Or no, 14-year-old, something like that.
Yeah, he's 14. His dad
Died
locked
in
up.
Georgia. He got arrested. They arrested him. Yeah.
yeah, but here's the problem. He bought the gun, from what I understand, for the kid last Christmas. The kid was 13 at the time.
hmm
CPS has been to the house. They had him on a watch list. Okay? The
Yeah.
kid did what he did. He gets charged with, as an adult, 4 felony counts of murder.
Hmm.
Right? The father that helped this kid knew he had problems, whatever, turns around and only gets charged 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of manslaughter, and 8 child endangerment charges. Tell me how. Because to me, he's just as guilty, if not more guilty, than his son.
Mm.
Yeah.
For going out and buying. Who buys their kid an AR-15? Please tell me.
To go hunting.
My kid didn't get one.
To go hunting. Okay, so this is what you go hunting. Yeah, I mean, my father went hunting, but he didn't buy an AR-15 to blow the thing to smithereens.
Right.
Because that's what you're going to do with it. You're going to, with something like that, that's to blow the thing to smithereens. You going to get any cutlets for that? I don't think so.
That's obvious with the picture that they posted with him when he shot the deer and he had the deer's blood all over his body.
Right. That's what he
Okay.
said. You're right. Yep.
So I brought up my daughter on firearms very young, at a young age, and and she handled them well. She was taught safety and things like that. She never touched them without supervision. Plus, they were always secured.
Right.
Once she became an adult, like a legal age, 18 years. Actually, she was actually 20 when I gave her original rifle I bought her when she was a kid, which was a little 22 bolt action rifle. That was her first real gun. Other than that, it was BB guns before that, but that was her first real gun that she owned. And then it wasn't until last year, she's 24 now. It wasn't until last year I gave her an AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been behind the trigger. She knows the safety of it. She knows the operations and things like that.
Right. How old is she?
And she doesn't have any issues either. She's
How old is she though?
24 now.
Okay, she's 24. This kid is 13 years old.
Right, exactly.
He's going to think about like when we were cowboys and Indians, So his mindset is not developed yet.
Right.
To think of it that way, right?
Correct.
Not to
He's
be
a
responsible.
he's video games.
It's a video game to him. It's a video game.
On a better
Correct.
level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
Yeah, but my question is, if they knew this and they knew the kid was having problems and CPS was to the house and the kid and the sister were crying, the brother and sister were crying for help because the mother was a meth head.
Yep.
And everything else.
Yeah,
and
I
how
heard
she
that,
got
yeah.
custody of the 2 other children and how the father got custody of him is beyond my comprehension.
Me neither.
But my point is, yes, what he did was horrific. I agree. But don't you think that something has to be done with CPS, that they have a whole file and they chose to do nothing? The police had them on their radar and they chose to do nothing? Come on. What is
Yeah, I
it
know.
going to take? The warning signs were there.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there not a mental health check on people before they issue a gun permit? That's
Don't
what
they
I
put,
want to know.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, don't they put them when, they knew something was up because they knew there was threats before. There was social media threats, like you said.
Mhm.
Don't they put them on a list to watch them? Don't they have people watch them?
So the FBI was watching. They got a tip, and he was basically on a watch list, basically like and they did, and that's why they conveyed it to the county sheriff's office. That's where the failure starts, because the county sheriff went out and did the interviews with the father and the kid, and they both pretty much said, yeah, that's what happened, and sorry, and basically like they left,
Sorry.
and they didn't
Yeah,
they
exactly.
didn't follow up. Well, the dad was an a-hole at first,
Yeah, they said that on TV that he was
but
pretty arrogant.
he eventually like said, yeah, all this is going on, and then like Carol brought up the mom problems and stuff
Yeah.
in the household. You know,
Yeah, the whole family dynamic, it was not that great.
and even the kid was like, oh, sorry, I didn't. And that's where they dropped the ball. What they should have done, you're talking about the mental health part, they should
Yes.
have done, and it's pretty much available in almost every state that I know of, at least the ones I've worked, is called an emergency evaluation petition, or basically a mental evaluation, emergency mental evaluation. So if
Mhm.
someone's making these types of statements, law enforcement in most cases can fill out a form, take a person into custody, transport them not to jail, but to either a hospital that has a psychiatric unit or a
Right.
dedicated mental health facility for evaluation. And I know in Maryland, it's like I think it's like a 72-hour hold or something like that. If they find that this person, has done something or is a threat to themselves or others, things like that.
Right.
So those resources and that availability is out there in different states. However, this sheriff's department just my opinion, seemed to
Right.
have dropped the ball when this initial contact happened after the FBI said, hey, they got the alert and they
Right.
passed it on, said, hey, this is your local jurisdiction. Here's what's going on. And they kind of dropped the ball. Not kind of, they did drop the ball.
They did. They dropped the ball.
Yeah.
What
And
would
that's,
what would you
that
do?
kid, that kid, if they had followed good procedure, and I don't know Georgia law, but if they had followed good procedure and things like that, they would have tried to find some way to force this kid into some type of counseling, mental health
Right.
evaluation.
Being that he's a minor and he was under 16, obviously.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
can you force them? Can you
It
force
depends.
somebody?
It depends on the age again. So yes,
Okay.
in Maryland you can. Again, it's kind of age depending, but it's also depending on the actions and statements that are made. You have to meet certain criteria under state law to do
Okay.
that. But I don't know Georgia law, so I don't know
Okay.
what their thing is. But I know where I worked,
Yeah.
and in both states, Delaware and Maryland. Yeah, you could just if they made certain statements or committed certain actions and they were a threat to themselves or the public and things like that, you had every lawful right to take that person into custody, take them to a hospital that had a psychiatric unit for evaluation or a dedicated psychiatric facility to be
Okay.
evaluated in a certain period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I think CPS should be held accountable for not doing their job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because we're hearing that too often, that CPS was involved and they don't
And
do
they're not doing
anything.
right. They're not doing their job.
Yeah.
And what would they do? What would they do to avoid to have? Right, they got this guy on watch,
Right.
this kid on watch.
Yep.
So, what would they do to diffuse the situation? Even if CPS or law enforcement,
Well, wouldn't they have somebody
got
like
nothing. He hasn't
monitor
done
his social
anything, right?
media?
he hasn't
They
done
could
anything.
go, wait a minute. I know in Pennsylvania, whoa. In Pennsylvania, they can go before a judge, a caseworker from CPS, explain the situation to the judge. The judge will then issue a warrant for the child to be brought in this case, and they will get him the mandate. Court, the judge say, you have to get this mental health,
Right.
and they'll take them right there.
Okay.
It's a civil commitment, but yeah, it's
Right.
kind of the same premise.
Well,
Right.
then they should.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree.
Gone away,
Right.
you know.
Well, there's this. I mean, I'm sure there's more kids out there that are. I hate to say it, but thinking the same thing. Thinking
Well,
about
there's a lot
doing
of-
the
there-
same
there-
thing.
A lot of those kids are confused. There are a lot of these. Again, I'll go back to video games. It's fun for them to go play video games and shoot everybody up. After you've beaten the video game a bunch of times, what is next? What are you going to do next? So, the kids that have problems say, oh, this guy's picking on me. I'll go
Well,
and do this.
Yeah.
You want to hear of a lesson in stupidity with a gun?
God,
Okay, this is from my local newspaper today. On September 2nd at around 4:15, Pennsylvania State Police officers from the Blooming Grove station responded to a report of a shooting involving a 13-year-old boy
God.
at Kensington Drive in Saw Creek Estates in Lehman Township. The child sustained a single gunshot wound to the abdomen. According to the report, the child's cousin, identified only as a 44 to 45-year-old woman from Bushkill, was in her bedroom getting ready to unload her Glock 27
Oh shit.
and put it in her safe when her nephew, 18, and cousin, 13, barged into her bedroom with the intent to scare her. She allegedly told police that she was startled and dropped the gun, which then hit the floor
Oh,
Holy
and went
shit.
off, striking the 13-year-old in the stomach. She then
Wow.
called 911 and began to administer first aid by applying pressure to the wound. Her nephew was also interviewed by police and reportedly confirmed the woman's story, admitting that he and the 13-year-old did barge in with the intent to scare her. The paramedics who arrived told police they were given the same account of events. The 13-year-old was transported to Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest, where he's listed in stable condition following emergency surgery. The Pike County District Attorney's Office has decided not to file charges against the woman at this time. My question is, if you have a Glock and you're in your room and you're cleaning it or you're doing, number one, you, Mr. Smith, you know what I'm going to say. Why was it loaded?
Mhm.
Number two,
You
why
clean
didn't
a
you lock
loaded gun?
you lock your bedroom door?
I mean, really?
You'd be,
It-
Teresa,
Adults
you'd be
clean loaded-
surprised, Teresa. I've seen cops put holes in walls at the firing range cleaning their guns. So I swear it's true.
No, I've seen them at the range too.
Now you had
Like,
to know
what's going on? It's like, really?
why
Don't-
didn't you? But what I don't understand is why she didn't lock the door. She had to know they were in the house.
Yeah, you don't do that. You do, yeah, exactly. You close the door, lock the door, take precautions. Nobody's taking precautions. These people have no common sense. I mean, it's
well, there's
not fair.
There's a respect factor.
Yeah,
Mr.
to respect
Smith
the
knows.
arms. Yeah, he knows. You respect
There
when you
should
have
be-
arms, you respect that.
Yeah.
You respect
Now,
it.
maybe if they, I don't know, but maybe if they taught some kind of class on it,
Mhm.
about respecting, because guys in the military, I'm sure Mr. Smith respects his guns.
So of course
His
he
daughter
does.
probably respects her gun.
Yeah, she does.
But those other, they don't respect
because
that
it's a
gun.
game to them.
Yeah.
So a lot of states have tried to implement this mandated training requirement before you can even purchase a firearm, right? And a lot of states.
I like that. I like that too. I do like that.
I agree with it a whole, like 110%. However, the problem is the mandated training requirements are so minimal. Like they basically, it's just like
Yeah.
it's
Can you
useless.
shoot it?
Like you
Yeah,
spend
can you shoot it? Can you load
load
it?
it, can
That's
you
it.
clean
Okay,
it?
here you
Okay,
go.
good.
That's good.
you spend 4 hours in the classroom and a couple hours at the range, and then okay, here's you can buy whatever
Right.
you want. You're not trained.
Nope.
But that anyone that's pro 2A, anyone's pro Second Amendment will say, well, we shouldn't even be required to have training to own a firearm. Okay, so it's your constitutional right to own a firearm, but it's not your constitutional right to go out and carry it in public and use it against other human beings unless it's in self-defense.
Right.
That's right.
And
Right.
if you do it the wrong way, and if you make a bad decision, that's where the training comes into a very
That's right.
important context, because if you're not trained to use it right and to carry it right and to do things right, this needs to be it needs to be an extensive training process and things like that. It can't just be, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to fight the Constitution, the Second Amendment, or anything like that. What
I get it.
Yeah.
No, we totally get that.
I'm just saying, like,
Us-
the requirements the
neither.
laws you're creating are just weak and stupid. That's-
exactly. Weak and stupid. Yeah, exactly.
Like a little band-aid.
Right.
I told you how I felt, Mr. Smith.
Mhm.
I said that before they even issue a gun permit, You have to go to the range to learn what to do, and they have to, I'm sorry, they have to do a mental check, everything. This criminal background check just doesn't work.
I agree.
Okay? They need to do that, and they need to teach them the safety.
Mhm.
And if you're not going to be responsible, or if there's anything there, because when they check for the mental state, they
Mhm.
should check the immediate family
Right.
to
So
make
now,
sure.
like Chuck just said, remember like in driver's ed when they used to show you those graphic crashes?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you would have
This is what
respect.
could happen.
Right. So
Some
you would have
respect for your
respect
car.
for
Yeah.
the
And other
machine, the
cars.
driving
And other
machine that
cars.
you're going to be, how
And-
many tons, which will kill a person too.
And then
Same
before prom, you'd have your local fire department set up. They go to different high schools, and they put up like these crash cars demonstration.
Yes.
They have like the victims, and they show like the damage that like driving drunk and all these things will happen. Like, yeah.
Yes,
Scared
the
straight,
school here
kids
has
in
that
jail.
every year.
Scared straight, with the jails. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
Well,
what they
maybe,
need, but they
show them some
stopped all
graphic
that.
stuff of what happens, and I don't know, maybe.
I mean, I don't know if that would help, but
well, there's consequences to shooting it arbitrarily.
right.
Look what you can do. Respect it. It's okay to defend yourself. It's okay. I agree with that. If everybody, listen, if everybody had a gun, a lot less people would be walking up to you and shooting. If you all had a gun, but then that's freaking the wild, wild west,
Right.
and then it's crazy, But
And a lot of people don't know or understand or have never experienced the civil liabilities you'll affect. Forget the criminal aspect of it. If you shoot somebody, whether you just wound them or you kill them, you will have civil repercussions.
Well, absolutely.
You will get sued. If the person lives, it'll be by them. If not, it's by their estate,
their
family members, things like that. Trust me.
Let that be known.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So there's all these and I get a lot, Chuck. I get a lot of heat for it because you see my channel name. I'm a gun channel. Like that's my experience and stuff like that. I get a lot of heat from the pro Second Amendment community because of my beliefs, and that's only because I've experienced all these different things. And I'm like, look, you can't just think that you can go around just because you do have a constitutional right to own a firearm, that you can go around carrying it and using it at your own free will. That's not how it works.
That's right.
You have to use it only under certain limited circumstances against another human being. If you want to go hunt with it, fine. If you want to go target shooting, fine. But if you're talking about shooting another human being, oh boy, you got problems if you don't understand the law, criminal and civil law.
Yeah.
The Constitution's great. Yeah, you can have it.
Hey, Seymour.
But that's it.
How are you, Miss Teresa?
Good. How are you, honey?
How are you, Mrs. Smith? Miss Carol, how are you?
Hey, how are
We're
you?
good, thank you. How are you?
I'm sorry if I interrupted the subject. I don't know what you're talking about, but I thought I'd just pop on and say hey.
No, that's totally fine. We're just talking about current events, the state of the state of the state of the state of the state.
Guns with kids. So.
Yeah, we were talking about the school things that were going on and the guns and
Here's a pop quiz.
Filthy.
Here's a pop quiz real quick. This is for Teresa, Chuck, and Carol. Do you know where the name Seymour Scagnetti comes from?
It sounds familiar.
It should.
I can give you a hint. He is a parole officer.
Yep.
Okay, he's a cop.
It's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
That's it, Quentin Tarantino. I was going to say Martin Scorsese, but it's not. Quentin Tarantino. It sounds like a Quentin Tarantino.
I'll let Seymour give away the movie name.
Well, I didn't say the movie name, but I figured parole officer would be a good hint.
No, I'm saying they know they just don't know the movie name yet. But I'll let you.
Is it War Dogs? No.
No, yes, Quentin Tarantino was the director of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The
movie was called
John Travolta was in it.
Pulp Fiction? No.
You're on the right track.
Oh man.
Oh wow, I know which movie it is. I can't think of the name of it. I got it in the vision in my head. I know which one it is. I just watched it 2-3 days ago.
Have you ever heard of Natural Born Killers?
Yeah, Natural Born Killer. That's with Woody Harrelson, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
And Seymour Scagnetti was a parole officer, and he went to the jail. Right. I hate talking about Seymour Scagnetti. Seymour Scagnetti.
Fast Eddie paid me well, but nobody knew about it.
Right.
Steve Buscemi was in it as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's next. Okay. Oh, okay. So, one of the candidates, I'm sure you know who it is, wants Elon Musk to have control of his or make a department, I guess, to get rid of federal waste.
Which I think is a bad idea, but I'm going to
Mr.
shut my mouth
Smith,
on that.
So, in other words, cleaning out federal waste from
Federal financial issue.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, politics, this time of year, every politician makes every kind of promise every year.
Yep, they do. They do. And how come they wait till an election year to do that? I don't understand.
Well, yeah,
But anyway,
I don't know. One
Harris
of
is going to
the
fix the economy. But
yeah.
well, wait a
Well,
minute. Harris is going to
She
fix
had
the
3.5
economy. What happened the
years
last?
to do
What did?
it.
How come you couldn't do it the last 3 years? What's going
Right.
on, man?
Yeah.
You couldn't do it the last 3 years? What's going
You know,
on?
Teresa and I are totally on the shelf
Yeah.
on what we want to do. You know, 1 minute.
well,
we're
I
like,
saw. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I saw a clip. I'm sorry. I saw a clip. I think it was Al Sharpton with Kamala Harris, and
Yep.
it was just
And
like a quick clip. And they asked her. She said is the first thing she would do if she gets in office is to give reparations for slavery or something
Oh, come on.
for all the black people for slavery, or I don't know. It was like a quick clip on Facebook or something I caught. Have you any of you heard about that one?
yes, I
No,
heard about
I
that,
didn't
but
hear about that one, but
you know
wow.
what? I don't believe I'm
Yeah.
going to say this. I'll give Newsom credit because he's taking heat right now in California because they passed the reparations bill and he vetoed it and said no.
Well, for me, I think it's just a way to get votes. Maybe she could do it, but I don't think in reality it would happen. And I'm just thinking, you know, the way things are going now and everything is PC and everybody is coddled and it's a way to get a vote. But everybody how can everybody like that claim reparations if they were never alive for slavery? They never went through it.
I was
Their
just going to
grandparents
say,
never went through it. And
I agree
you know
with
what?
that.
A lot of them, they don't even know the history of slavery.
Right.
You
How
know,
could you even
if
say
you have,
something like that when you don't know the history? Yeah.
well, exactly. Kamala Harris probably doesn't even know the history of it herself, and she's going to do that, you know, and throw it out there. But it's for votes.
Yeah.
I was
You know,
going to say,
it's foolish.
I agree with him because I was going to say, like he said it first, like if you weren't there, if you weren't a slave, you don't deserve reparations, right?
Yeah.
Like if you weren't a slave yourself, you don't deserve. You weren't there. You weren't alive. You weren't.
Right.
That's it. Very simple.
But I thought people were trying to erase history, period. So why are they even talking about that?
It's for votes. It's for publicity. It's for votes, and it makes no sense. But she's preaching to the people that have no understanding of what any of that is. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I don't follow politics, but I mean, but if people think they're going to get a couple dollars, oh, let's
Right.
vote for her. You know.
That's exactly right. That's what it is. Yeah. Sure.
And I mean, sorry, but it pisses me off.
No,
But it's
everybody has their
politics.
opinion. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Yes, absolutely.
Sure, and it's politics, and that's what politicians do.
Mhm.
You know,
And
they tell you what you want to hear, and you vote for them, and then it doesn't happen.
Right.
Yep.
And it's the
Like
same
it happens
old
every
record
other year.
over and over and over again, and nothing.
Oh,
ever
yeah.
changes.
No, it's the same old story, but that blew my mind. I laughed about that. And that Al Sharpton, the drug dealer, is right there up next to her, and they're talking that kind of shit. And it's not going to happen.
Well, it's about who stirs the pot, you know?
Well, you know who
Well,
else
sure.
is backing her? Louis Farrakhan. Because I saw that on, what was it, Fox News. They had a clip that they were showing on one of the shows with her in between Sharpton on the left and Farrakhan on the right backing her to get her elected. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
I could give, I know Carol knows, I did it on the live the other night, but Teresa, I don't think you know, I gave my full political background, and I'm not afraid to say, anything about my political affiliations or who I intend
Yeah,
to
no, that's fine. That's totally fine. And we respect that. We respect that. I mean, adults, let's put it this way. Adults will respect that.
Right.
If you're an adult and somebody else has a different opinion than you, okay, you have to respect it. But
So
there's
originally,
thousands and millions of people who just don't, and they just they go berserko. They act like kids. They're berserko. We can have a conversation here. I mean, I'm sure whoever's voting for whoever, we're still on the fence. We don't know what's going on.
I'll tell you right now, I was a registered Democrat for many years.
I was too, and so was Chuck.
We switched
And we switched to independent a couple of years back.
Well, I registered when I was a kid, when I was eligible to, because my parents were.
Well, my parents, his parents were Democrats. My parents were all Republicans. And actually, I didn't register to vote till like the 80s. Yeah. I didn't register. Chuck's like, "You're not registered to vote?" And I'm like, "No."
Well, that's
like, all right, come on, we're going. And
I didn't register till the early 90s.
Uh-huh.
But and then I switched to Democrat. I'm sorry, I switched to Republican. Because I was Democrat, I switched to Republican.
Well, Mr. Smith, what you're referring to was your father's and your grandfather's Democratic Party as well. That's totally different from the Democratic Party that's here right now.
Your parents' Democrat Party was totally different from this Democrat Party.
Well, here they switched too.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Before my dad passed, before he was heavily involved in politics. That's how I learned about politics was through him. Yeah. But anyway, so I switched to Republican later on in life, and I actually didn't vote the whole time I was Democratic, nor the first few years I was a Republican, registered Republican, and then I started voting. Mm-hmm. I will say that in my recent life, I have worked for a Green Party candidate to support him for election. I have no problem with any party. It's just it doesn't really mean anything to me because everybody.
That's exactly right. I just want them to do the things that should be done and get it done. Right. And get it done.
Right.
Don't term limits. Term limits.
The tough spot that I figured out and found out is that it's very difficult, and ask Mr. Kennedy now.
Yeah.
He's backing Trump, which I understand. Yeah. But he was an independent, or he's an independent, right?
He was an independent.
And he withdrew, and now he's backing Trump. And I get it, because in my position, I'm forced between a rock and a hard place. I'm not a huge fan of Trump. And by that, I mean, the umbrella of everything that he's thinks about or has done or things like that. However, he has proven to be a strong president. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I mean, we look at the immigration issues, the illegal immigration issues, the border security, Russia, China, things like that are major threats, North Korea, like that. He did directly deal with. Yeah. Now you see what's happened since he's been gone.
That's what I'm worried about, especially the direct threats. I mean, we're getting threats constantly. And a lot of people don't know about it, but they're there.
And now now is like now these, I'm just talking about the two major. I know there's going to be other people on the ballot too, but you have Trump and Harris. Now, Harris, how often did any of us see her publicly
Sure.
in anything before? How active was she publicly before she became the nominee for the Democratic Party? Like all of a sudden now she's all over the news. It's everything Harris, 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 Harris. Before, when she's still a
When
vice
she was vice president, you mean?
president,
Mhm.
you hardly ever heard or saw her on the news giving speeches, giving
Right.
interviews, things like that. You just
Well, I mean, does any vice president come to mind that you've seen a lot of?
I'm sorry.
Any vice president that you can think of that you saw a lot of? Like, did you see a lot of Pence making speeches?
I saw more of him than Harris. I also saw so like Cheney. Besides
Yeah.
besides him shooting people.
Yeah,
Oh.
I saw him. I saw him out on his ranch a lot. But yeah.
But no, like, and even back in the day, like I went to Reagan's initial inauguration, and like even Vice President Bush at the time, like you'd see him all over the place, things like that. Like it was, times have changed, politics have changed, sort of. But Harris, I have not seen her in the last 3.5 years, or actually 3+ years. I have not really seen her do much or heard
I
about her
have.
doing much.
I've seen her on late night talk shows laughing as people are asking her a question like a hyena.
Recently or over the term?
No, over the 3 years.
She's
She
Oh.
was on the Steve
Yeah.
Colbert show. She was on the Jimmy Fallon show. God knows how many times she was on. That
You know,
one
I
on
don't
7.
mind. I don't mind a candidate, president, vice president, whoever. I don't mind them being a human being because we have to show that we're human, right?
Mhm.
I think so. I think it's important.
Right.
I mean, but
Relatable. Yeah.
relatable, right?
Mhm.
Relatable.
She's trying really hard to be relatable.
Yeah,
now.
she's trying to.
That's why she
I mean, I
laughs
guess
at
she's
everything.
trying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why. That's kind of like a nervous laugh. Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
I want you to like me. I want you to like me. And she laughed.
All I know is that when she was in California, she left a man that was innocent on death row, and she knew
Yeah,
he
I
was
know. She
innocent.
did a lot of that.
Okay,
She's a
so
lawyer and you're ruthless.
Yeah, the lawyers are ruthless. Yes, they are. She's a lawyer.
Okay.
And,
If she wins, whether they're right or wrong,
Mhm.
but she wins, and it's a check mark, and it's a check mark, and that's all they give a shit about is it's winning. I don't know if you guys know any lawyers, but
because we know lawyers and they just want to win. That's it.
yeah,
Well, the guy that's predicted 9 out of the last 10 presidents elections successfully predicted he's saying Harris is going to win.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
that, and then I saw Rasmussen's poll that says no. So we'll see. I hear that it's neck and neck, but you got to remember there are a lot of people that they're polling that they call that refuse to answer, like myself.
Right.
I hang up on them.
yeah.
I will tell you, I'm not voting for Harris. I'll tell you that straight up front. I'm not.
I can't see myself voting for Harris right now.
Yeah,
I
right
can't-
now.
I cannot see it.
It's got to be.
I don't listen. I interject. I don't really like to get into politics, so that's why I'm kind of half in, half out on this. I don't really totally care for Vance, and I'm worried about Trump making it for 4 more years,
Yeah.
and Vance will be our next president.
Right. So if he doesn't make it for
So-
4 more years, Advance would be the president. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would want Waltz over there?
No.
No, it's like the lesser. I don't know. Is it the
I know.
lesser of
It's
two
like,
evils?
so this is where I am. I like Trump because I've always liked Trump, not politically, but business, because I thought that he would be the person
to run it.
to get away from the politic angle of the whole thing.
Yeah, because we don't
But
like
the only problem with
politicians.
that is what they're talking
That
about. It's reared its head is the dictatorship talk.
Yeah.
And that's what their Democrats are pushing to have you think about. If Trump gets in, he's going to do whatever the hell he wants because I don't really care, because I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to make America great again. And there is Trump sayings that were
Blown
Hitler
out of proportion.
things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the downfall of that is, oh, well, we need political parties and Trump is his own party. So he's going to do whatever he wants to do. So he's going to be a dictator and do whatever the hell he wants to do. And I think I don't think that that's true, but that's an agenda that's being pushed.
Right.
And I think people will refrain from voting for Trump. You know, you stand in front of that ballot thing and you have to check a box. A lot of people go into that box, they'll go in there and look at that, thinking they're going to vote for somebody and then say something's going to click, you know, and then boom, and it's different than what you thought. I don't know.
Do you think your vote counts?
By a straightforward vote or by the electoral college?
Yeah, see,
That's the whole thing.
the electoral
Yep.
college. Yeah.
What do you
Yep.
think about that? Would you like to see it not there anymore? Get rid of it?
You know why it was put in place, right?
No.
The electoral college.
No. Why? Tell me.
Well, it was put in place to like so like big areas
Mm-hmm.
can't control everything that happens or something like that. Am I right about that? Does anybody
Is it
know?
right?
Yeah, so it's just like the lines in different states for representation for
Yeah.
people elected to,
People-
yes, like, you know, senators, congressmen, stuff like
Oh,
that.
there's Maureen. Maureen stayed there because I wanted to. Yeah. No, I know. It's put in place for what?
So there's lines drawn in states, and there's actually battles still going on, like Maryland, Pennsylvania. There's all across the country. There's states that are fighting like these representative districts. They're saying like, well, this line was drawn to heavily support the Democratic side or the Republican side, things
Right.
like that. And the Electoral College depends on numbers of voters and representatives from states and things like that. And that's why it kind of conflicts with, you know, us just going and casting a ballot, because they're like, well, you voted but however, even though you voted this way, we have these many representatives from this state or this district or voting district or whatever. And the Electoral College says that they get the
Hi, Primo.
they get the winning number
Mhm.
of support, and that gets put into the Electoral College votes, and that's why the Electoral College numbers count in the final election versus actual direct votes, right?
Okay.
Yeah, to give almost kind of give every district fair shake. That was what it's designed.
Okay.
You could
Right.
load up. Well, notoriously, Democrats are in cities,
Right.
big
That's
cities,
right. Yeah.
and there's a lot of people in there.
Okay.
You know,
Gotcha.
they wanted to give the people that lived on the outskirts, the
A
Republicans,
fighting chance.
chance.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
So,
Right.
You know,
so, I mean,
that's the idea
I
behind
know.
it.
So, but a lot of people don't want it, right? So, would it be
No.
better without it or not without it?
Well,
I mean, without it or with it?
I don't know, because in my entire lifetime I've only lived with it, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It would be interesting to see, but I don't know what would happen.
because who won the popular vote last?
Yeah. Who won the popular vote
Well,
the
no,
last
it was-
election?
Was Clinton and Trump who won the popular vote?
With Hillary and Trump.
You know what? I honestly don't
Hillary.
remember.
Yeah, it was
Hillary
It
won
was
the
Hillary that
popular
won the
vote.
popular vote?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I just honestly don't remember.
So, I mean, it's interesting because the popular vote is your vote. So people say, you know, it's like, well, we voted and she won. And I'm happy that didn't happen. But
So am I.
but having said that, you know, who's running the country right now?
The
Obama.
they're not. Yeah.
No
the
comment.
president is not. The president
The
doesn't
president
run
ever since-
anything.
The president, ever since he decided that they decided that he wasn't going to run, is gone. And
Right.
now Harris is in charge of everything, it seems. But, I mean, that's what it seems.
It seems like he's gone, doesn't it? We don't
Yeah.
even hear from him
He's
anymore.
gone. I don't know.
The last time I heard, he was on vacation.
I can tell you personal stories about Biden. Give me a second.
No, because he lived down. He lived
I've
down
said-
by you, right?
I've told them before on I know on Angels Live. I've told them on another live or two or so. But yeah, I've actually walked with the man along the Atlantic Ocean a couple of times,
Oh,
and
wow.
this is
Pretty
back
cool.
in the 90s,
Mhm.
and
So he was a senator back then, right?
yeah, Delaware, and he did a lot for law enforcement back then.
Okay.
He really did. But I will tell you, am I allowed to cuss on your channel? I don't know.
You can, sure. Well, I'm not
Hey.
getting paid.
He was an asshole. He was an arrogant,
Uh-huh.
pompous asshole.
Oh, I remember you saying that. Yes, I do
Yeah.
remember saying you
It's
saying
true.
In his younger days,
that. In his younger days.
he was.
Mhm.
And I still have
Well, you
a handwritten letter, or not a handwritten, a typed and hand signed letter from him from back in the day. This is actually in the early 2000s, and he's a career. His life is politics. That's all
Yeah, he's a career politician. Yeah.
that's all he's ever done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he did do some positive things for law enforcement, and that's the only perspective I can come from
Okay.
what he's done. But as a person, as an individual, like walking next to him and talking to him, and I was part of his security detail and things like that as a police officer in Delaware. He was basically walking and going over like hurricane hit spots and things like that.
Mhm.
And he was just an arrogant asshole, just a pompous, arrogant asshole. Like, he was not personable at all.
No.
You couldn't just say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, Senator Biden, Mr. Biden, whatever you want to call him,"
Right.
and he would just brush you off. He'd ignore you, or just be like, and then
I don't.
go
I
about
hate.
his
I
way.
hate politicians that are like that. They can't even relate to the people. I mean, you're representing us.
Well, wasn't he the guy?
You're
wasn't
representing
he,
us.
He was the guy that was heading up the drug.
If anybody wants to come on up and want to talk, normal like we are, about, because this is the way people should talk about politics, and it's nice. So
Yeah, he was the guy heading up the
just press the
the
link.
creator of a lot of people going on welfare, meaning he put a lot of the marijuana dealers behind bars, the fathers, and that left the mothers with single kids. I think he headed up the bill to do that
Oh, okay.
back in the day. I might be wrong, but I think he was part of that group.
I'm not
And
sure.
that's-
I know he created a lot of federal grant funding for state, county, and local law enforcement to like buy ballistic vests and
That's
all kinds of things like that back in the day.
That's good.
way
That's
back
good
in the
stuff.
day.
That's good stuff.
No, we're talking about 90s and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
but way back then. But he was still, even though he did that, he was still an arrogant asshole. He was pompous, narcissistic, arrogant politician, lifelong politician, asshole. That's
Oh,
all.
there's a lot of those.
I think, yeah, Carol, I was going to say, I think that's pretty
I
much
was
the
waiting-
MO of
I was
all
waiting for her.
politicians.
Yeah, I was just waiting for her.
What's
So
that?
I can give you, I can give you three off the top of my head: McConnell, Schumer, and Pelosi.
Yes.
But when you
Okay,
walk- when you walk next to these people and talk to them before they're like, and it's kind of mind-boggling to me, because back then I was a kid, like I was in my 20s, right?
Right.
And I'm like, this guy's a dick. And now, no, seriously, I was like, he's like pro law. He's supposed to be pro law enforcement. He's a dick, and I'm his security, part of his security, right? While he's doing this stuff, and I'm like, he's a dick. And then as I get older, then I'm like, now he's a president, and he's a vice
Yeah, I
president.
know,
Now
right?
he's a vice president. And now he is gone. Like, there is nothing going on.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. There's nothing. He's
He's a
winding.
shell.
He's
a shell.
winding down for sure. Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah
And
he's
his
basically
son,
a shell.
and his son.
Oh, forget about that.
oh, he's gonna get off. He pled guilty. Whatever they give him, he on Joe's last day, he's just gonna say, "Okay, forget it, let him out."
That's right. That's right. Or something
Okay.
like that. Something
Yeah.
to that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. He's
That's
gonna
right.
exonerate him.
Yep. No doubt.
Oh,
You know, that's the one thing I hate about politics.
Well.
If you're going to do something, you do it to both sides. If they did something wrong, I don't care whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. They get caught doing something, you do what you got to do. But you don't turn around just because you're the president and exonerate them because
Yeah,
they're
I
a
know.
family member. That doesn't go with me. Okay?
I mean, if they did something, they did something. I mean, you do a crime,
Yeah.
you got to,
Look at Mendez in New Jersey.
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I can give you a whole bunch of examples. Look at what they're doing with Trump. Every time you turn around, he's being indicted again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're trying to stop him from running.
Both sides don't really want him in,
They don't want him in, so they're going to make his life freaking miserable until the election.
That's
Yeah,
why
but you know what?
they vote for him.
But you know what it makes me think?
What?
What are they so afraid of him being in? That he'll actually do something? That maybe he can stop the shit that's going on in the Ukraine and Israel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe.
Money floating around.
There's a
there.
lot of money in that.
What
happened?
Ask Mr. Smith what we're paying in Afghanistan to the Taliban every week. He's the one that told me.
What happened?
I was in shock. Is Mr. Smith there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
Okay. Do me a favor, Mr. Smith. Explain to them what you told me about the Taliban and what we're paying them every week.
65 to about 85 million dollars a week that the U.S. government has been paying them. They've been paying them since the Afghanistan withdrawal. They've been paying them to not attack U.S. interests. And there is somebody there somebody that's still there in Afghanistan that they're trying to get before Congress to testify that they're completely defying all the requirements of receiving that funding. Not that we should be paying them that in the first place, but per week, $65 to $85 million of American taxpayers' dollars. That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
That's a lot.
And just to protect U.S. interests, and part of that interest is not attacking American troops, not participating.
Yes, that's exactly right. I was just going to say that. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And nothing's been also to keep order and things like that. You can't say law there because there's no law.
Right.
But you can't that just to keep order and things like that. But they've taken over. Taliban's taken over. And they're abusing women and other people and things like that, and they're just being Taliban. But yet every week, we're paying them $65 to $85 million a week. And it doesn't make sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Smith. Don't we still have Americans that are over there?
Yes.
Okay. Why haven't they brought them back home?
So we have volunteer organizations. Then a lot of them are former special forces that have started organizations that are doing volunteer work, going over there and getting them out. Because our Department of State and our military isn't, because they're holding the military. It's not the fault of the members of our military because they're being held back. And the Department of State obviously falls under the government, but we have former special forces and special operations community have started these nonprofit organizations, and they are getting teams to go over and exfiltrate these Americans. It's a long process, but they're still doing it right now.
Mr. Smith.
Yep.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Smith, how do you feel about the fact that Biden just pulled all the troops out, left all that money and equipment over there? I mean, if they could have went about it a different way, which I think they could have, I don't think they would have that problem right now. Do you think? In your opinion?
Did you just see the parade that they had with all of our military hardware the Taliban held?
No, but I'm sure they've
Did they
been showing
really?
it off for quite a few
Is that the
months.
stuff we left behind?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
When
they,
Biden got in office, that kid sniffer left
Holy shit.
billions of dollars of equipment over there. They pulled troops off and left money and billions of dollars of equipment over, and
it's like
with
eight
not even a
billion,
blink of an eye.
Billion.
$8 billion of equipment,
Unbelievable.
vehicles,
Yeah.
guns, munitions, aircraft.
And for what reason?
Drones.
There was no reason for it. They could
They're
have
like, I think they
strategized
said the
and
reason
got
was,
all that
it was
out.
old stuff anyway.
Right.
What?
Well, I'm sorry, but they could have strategized and got that out of there. He
Oh,
just pulled it
absolutely.
out
Right.
really quick, you know. I
You're
didn't
right.
see a reason for that.
You're right. And there's two ways to do that. You plan the exfiltration beforehand before you shut down the whole thing, so you get everything out of there beforehand, or what they call you blow it in place, meaning you destroy it as it sits before you leave. So,
Right.
Which would have been the better option.
right.
But when you look at the news and the TV, they made it like they had no choice but to get out of there. But I call bullshit.
I call bullshit too. They didn't do either. They had options and they did not do them. But however, remember, Biden's admin blames it on Trump, and it happened after Trump wasn't even president anymore.
He wasn't.
Well, that last president always gets the short end of the stick.
They always inherit
that last president, they always get the blame for it.
Yeah, because
But
they
nobody-
inherit all the shit from before. They inherit
Sure,
all
but
that.
nobody
So
talks
every
about the
new one
president.
that comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Miss Teresa, but yeah,
No,
the
that's
president.
okay.
Nobody talks about the president that comes into office and all the kind of shit they have to shovel against the tide from the prior president. Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Nobody ever talks about that when he left office, we were at 1.9% in inflation. And what are we at now?
Oh, way higher. I don't know the numbers, but I know Trump actually he actually dropped all that down.
I
He took a
know.
couple billion off of our debt, as far as I'm concerned, and like Obama and the other ones gave money away to these countries, which I don't agree with. Maybe it's a business move, but these people don't. A lot of these third world countries don't want our help. They're stuck in their own ways.
Mhm.
They want to deal with their own thing. They have their own religion. Stay out of it, right?
All right, so we just gave another $250 million to Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, but
This
you know
past
what?
week.
I believe it's a business move for the states and the government. They're doing that, and it's a business move in the end. They'll tax us. They'll ass rape us. They'll take it over there, but in the end, it's for the politicians. It's going to end up in their pocket somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Let me
And
ask
remember-
a question.
In my opinion.
Let me ask a question. When Biden took office and decided to release the money to Iran, do you believe that that's why October 7th happened?
Well, they're definitely funding the terrorist organizations, so they have to be using part of that money.
Sure. But you know what? Also, I believe that it's my personal opinion, but those third world countries, there's a lot of tyranny going on over there. And in order to keep certain countries over there, it has to be tyranny, like Saddam Hussein. To this day, I feel like it was a wrong move to take Saddam out of power.
I agree.
No, I
Okay,
agree too.
because when Saddam was in power, you didn't have all these little terrorist cells might have been there,
Yeah.
but they didn't make a move when Saddam was in power, because if they did, they knew he would torch their whole village and wipe out their whole bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
They would not make, and he did it to his own sons. He punished his own, degenerate sons. They go out and rape women in the village and this, and he, torched their whole 50 cars and, whatever with them. You have to have over there, it's third world countries. It's sad, but tyranny is, it is a thing. You have to have that in those countries. That's what they go by. That's what, you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, but I just believe that, they should have kept Saddam in power, in my opinion.
So here's another thing too with that whole embarrassing. We left. We have 13 young, great service members that are dead now.
Yes.
Right, males
Yeah.
and females.
All for nothing.
Exactly, because they didn't do it the right way, like we were talking about earlier. Because they didn't do it the right way.
No, they just rushed out. They could have planned that out. We have CIA. We have CIA, especially. They have spies. They have intelligence. We have all that. We have national intelligence all over the world. There's no reason why they couldn't came up with a game plan and moved all that out strategically. Maybe it would have took 5 years, maybe 10 years, but they could have done it, and they could have moved all that out and not left any of that for them.
And the current administration refuses to acknowledge or admit to any mistakes. As a matter of fact, Harris has said that she was proud of that moment because she was in the Situation Room when that happened in the White House. She was there.
Yeah, she was one of the retards that made the call.
Yes.
Yeah, and she doesn't. I bet you she had no idea of anything. She blindly just probably voted for it.
And she said she was proud. She said she was proud of that decision and stands by it to this day.
Yeah, which is, I'm sorry, pardon my French, which was bullshit, fucking bullshit. And these are the people that want to lead us in our country.
Well, just imagine she could be the next leader of this country, and
which is very scary.
Every foreign country and every other foreign superpower is watching.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all waiting to see if they're waiting for us to get a retard in office so they could take advantage of it.
So I was going to say, with that said, if she gets the office, what do you think we're in for?
Well,
a whole world of shit.
We've already got our foot in the middle of World War III, so you can only imagine from there how it's going to go.
Right, it's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it already started.
She's not going to fix
the Cold War.
Yeah, she's not going to fix it. She has no idea. Even if she has there's might be some good people in office that know strategy and that can, help her along. She's probably going to get rid of them. She's going to want her own people. And let's be honest, any president that's in office is not actually calling the shots. They got people behind them.
No, the 1%ers are behind it. They
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask a serious question here. Do you think that the reason they did what they did, because we all know that Joe was a puppet, okay? No disrespect to him, but that's what it was.
Oh, he is. He doesn't even know what day it is. He's definitely a puppet.
Don't you think they're doing the same thing with her? But she doesn't have a clue.
No, she doesn't. They're going to want somebody like her.
Right. So
they don't want somebody like Trump.
Who is pushing it? That's my question. Because they're not going to allow her to stay in office. Guarantee they're going to pull on her what they did on the president now. Guarantee.
Sure, they're already trying to bring back the trial for Trump, and they've already been trying to push him out. They're trying to bring stuff back on him. They want to label him as a felony.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what they did to President Biden, they're going to do to Harris if she gets elected. They're going to find a way. They're not going to keep her in office. Trust me on that. I just got that feeling.
Really?
Well, I think they'll keep her in office. I think Biden stepped down because they realized they couldn't stand him up and make him as the puppet. They exposed him. He doesn't know what day it is. He's a kid sniffer. He's retarded. Too many people realize that. So he had to step down. I don't think he wanted to, but he had to. Now,
Well-
Kamala might be the next one up. Trump, they don't want Trump because Trump knows how to tell people to fuck off
Yeah, that's exactly right.
and
Well,
say, you know what, make a move, and we'll, you know, they'll tell another country, make a move, and see what happens. You know.
Well, let's see what happens Tuesday
Okay,
night
Mark.
at the debate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm interested
Well,
to
yeah,
see
I'm
it.
looking forward to that. How about you guys? You gonna watch it?
I am.
I am.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
for
am.
sure I am.
really be interesting.
Yeah, especially
What?
that ABC made her agree, and she didn't want that. The mics are muted, just like CNN did.
That Kamala's not fit for it. They're just okay. Biden appointed her. The people back in the background in the dark, they're going to back her, whatever. But like I said, and they have the debates going. But at the same time they're doing that, they're trying to bring back these trials for Trump again. They're trying to reignite everything.
Oh, of course.
You know, it's a smear campaign.
Mhm.
But that's
A
okay.
felon.
That'll
You know, they're trying to do
It's
everything
a
they can to push
deflection.
them away.
Well, that's a
Yeah, but-
deflection. Yeah,
But don't you understand? Every time they indict him, his numbers go up. People
yeah.
aren't
Yeah,
stupid.
but they didn't learn that
see
from the
this.
last time. That's what happens. You know, I
Sure.
mean, because they're not running the country, guys. The people with the
No.
money are running the country, okay?
You guys,
The
You
Yeah,
people
the
got
with
the
1% or whatever.
Bezos.
that are telling, they're giving the information to those people, and then they're just running with that.
You
Well,
got
it is.
people like Bezos, all of them, any of them that are in that category, Zuckerberg, all of them.
Well, it was like Bush Jr. You know, he should have lost the election, but then they had old cousin Jeb in the re-election. They recounted in Florida
Yeah,
and a couple other states. He won, right? Bush Jr. couldn't even stand up and make an actual speech. He couldn't even read an actual speech on paper.
He couldn't talk. He wasn't a
No.
speech giver.
He was a crony for his old man and his people, the oil moguls, the
Oil
people behind the
mongers, yeah,
scenes.
Absolutely.
would shoot.
But he was just too stupid to actually read off of a piece of paper, you know.
That's right.
He wasn't a president. Our presidents aren't our president. They don't have. That's why they're afraid of Trump. That's why he has these trials, and they're putting all this stuff out in the open because you know all these politicians do worse than Trump did, but they're not putting it out there because they can control them. I mean, that's my opinion. They can't control Trump, so they're going to run smear campaigns, put him on trial, make him look like shit. Listen, no politician is perfect. I trust no politician.
Oh yeah, they have the pockets are infinity. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But Trump has balls. He can sit down. You know what? If he was in office, he would sit down with Putin, and I bet this Ukraine thing would go away.
Yep.
I would agree.
There's no doubt about it.
I believe that the Ukraine thing would go away. He would squash it, and everybody would get their compensation, and everything would be okay.
Do you
Well,
think that they have anything on him and vice versa? Russia on Trump?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe
No.
so. That's why they're bringing up this stupid things on his books, and all the other dumb shit they have. I mean, it's ridiculous. These politicians, they run corrupt every day. Every deal they make is corrupt behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Nothing is honest.
No, nothing's
No.
honest. Yeah.
Nothing.
Because
And it's
then
all
you
for
cannot
them.
vote. And then if
They're
you
all
don't
bought-
vote,
they're all bought and paid for.
I
Big
know.
pharma,
Yeah.
steel,
Well, all the lobbyists.
insurance companies, medical. They're all the ones.
do you really? I mean, like we were talking about it. They have a cure for cancer. They'll
Sure.
just never ever bring it out.
No,
It's a
see,
moneymaker.
Trump, they can't bribe Trump. They can't shut him up. They can't make him a puppet. Trump, maybe he has a couple dollars in his pocket. He's been running for how long? I mean, for Christ's sake, he built had his real estate in the 70s, 80s. He dealt with the mob. I mean, back then you had to, if you wanted a yard of concrete poured, maybe he didn't deal with them directly, but you had to kick back. You had to deal with a lot of, I'm sorry. Yeah. You had to deal with a lot of, shady stuff.
Right.
And these guys can't control Trump.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't control Trump, so they don't want Trump in. So they're going to bring him up on these trials. They're going to run their smear campaign
Mhm.
because they know Trump is going to tell these people in the background and you know, in the shadows to fuck off.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
No, that's good. I love hearing your opinion. I love hearing people's opinion. I love to hear.
And I don't follow politics. That's how I see it.
Right. There you go.
Listen, he gave an interview the other day, and somebody asked him about Putin and how he got Putin to back off Ukraine because supposedly Putin threatened, I guess, the United States with using the nuclear weapon or whatever. And
Yes.
Trump turned around and told him, "Go right ahead because my finger's already there."
Well, if you
And that
remember,
ended that.
yeah, Miss Carroll, if you remember, when he was office, he sat down, went over with Putin and sat down multiple times with him. And Putin wanted to be in some skirmishes, and he sat down with Putin, and he's a buddy of Putin's, and people don't like that.
Yeah, they got along. They got along fairly well, and that's notice when Ukraine got invaded was right after Trump was gone, right? Like not long.
Yeah,
after.
exactly. Yep.
So,
and once Trump left, there goes Putin, and there goes a war on Ukraine, and you know.
Hey, look, who sat down with Rocket Man over there from North Korea? Okay.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, he's starting his crap with South Korea again. Okay. So
yeah,
that tells you everything you need to know.
But see, the government. I'm sorry, Miss Carroll, but the government and the politicians, in reality, they don't want that because it in my opinion, it's interferes with business because war is business.
Well,
they're giving up billions.
Primo's right. Primo's right.
Yeah.
It's volunteer. Learn, because it's local.
I mean,
they're
giving away. They're giving away trillions of dollars. They're ass raping us. We have to work for basically nothing to support that in the end.
I like your background.
Nah. But in the end, these politicians get that money back. They get it back in their pockets. I mean, conflict is money.
Well, that's just like with the fentanyl crisis and all the other crises. Somebody's getting the kickback that they're just letting it in.
Well, sure, we're not. The politicians are getting the kickback, and we're the ones that have to suffer and deal with it, and pay our 30 points a year or 30 points a week on our check or whatever it is.
Do you remember, Mr. Smith? I know you'll remember. Do you remember when Noriega and what happened with him? Okay, and how the United States was buddy with him, and then when things went south and he stopped paying them, all of a sudden they arrested him for the drugs that were being brought into the country.
Yeah,
that tells you all you need to know.
Sure. When Escobar went down, when they knew Escobar was in cahoots with Noriega and those photos came out and all that, they couldn't look the other way with Noriega. On top of, I'm sure, other things. But sure, they had to make a statement to the world, let's take them down. But until then, I know Noriega was making the money. CIA was in on that. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, yeah.
But wait a minute. With Noriega, here's the kicker. I believe, if I remember correctly, his sentence was only 40 years. Yet they were locking people up on the street and putting them away for longer than that for smoking and dealing marijuana at the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We had a certain alphabet agency that was also funding Noriega for different activities too. So there's that. So he kind of got a deal from the get-go.
The alphabet agency?
A 3-letter agency.
Yeah, I know, CIA. They were in cahoots. Listen, I mean, Noriega
Well, we
I
have a lot
believe-
of alphabet agencies.
Well, Noriega was useful until he wasn't.
Right.
Okay, I believe the government they knew Pablo. They took people over there. You know, the war on drugs. Bullshit. There's no war on drugs. Okay. They were over there. They knew what Noriega was doing, in my opinion. I believe the CIA is always involved in it. It's not like I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know, I'm not a weirdo about that.
No,
I just, like I say,
you
from
don't
what
wear
I
a
see.
tinfoil hat, right?
No, well, it might be kind of cool if I did, but no, I don't do that. But
Primo, you
you
were
want,
in the Air Force?
yeah. But like, just like, I think like
Yeah,
Saddam
here,
Hussein, but sure, like Saddam Hussein, he was useful until they decided he wasn't.
Right.
You know, that it's a business. I mean, the United States,
Everybody's useful until
not.
they're not.
United States, they're the so-called superpower.
Yeah.
You know, they have their hands in the big banks and they control a lot of shit and they control a lot of interest and imports and whatnot. And, you know, they're going to do what they can to stay in power. And you're useful until you're not. And like just in regular business. And like your corner business, you know.
Unfortunately, U.S. is not the superpower anymore, and that's the problem. And that's what we need to go back to.
That's right.
I would agree with that. These days, I know a lot of people think that, but
Yeah, no, I think
you know,
we
the
were knocked
mentality.
into the number 2 place, right? China.
Yeah,
was
we've been
China's
knocked
number
down. We've been knocked down a notch or two.
Oh, I know China, I think, has us.
Mhm.
China
Well,
is.
China owns us.
Yeah, China owns
by the
us.
Coyotes.
We
Yeah.
borrowed so much from them that now
Sure.
they've got us by the balls. So
You know the amount of property that China has bought in the States and continue to buy, and you'll never hear about it. They have,
We know.
especially in Texas, they buy a lot of farms in there.
yeah, I
cattle
know. They were showing
farms.
a map with all the farmlands that they were, all
Yeah.
the land that they were buying in the United
Yeah.
States. It's like, what?
Yeah, and why don't you see that on the news? You never will.
We
You know
are
why?
all-
They
Because
won't put that on the news. No.
no, because I believe the government and the higher powers, the powers that be, they make money off of it. They don't give a shit about us.
We are all communicating through Chinese manufactured
US
parts
Steel?
right now.
That's right.
Yeah, cars, phones, computers.
I mean, like right now.
Wants to buy US Steel.
Yeah, they could be listening to us. Yeah, who knows?
Sure, another country wants to buy US Steel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Did you hear about that?
US
Another
Steel,
country wants to buy U.S. Steel.
Japan wants to buy it.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Oh my God, I can't.
You know, in my hometown, there's a steel mill, and it was U.S. Steel, and bought by a few other places over the year. And at one time, in its prime, it was on the top 10
Wow.
of the list to be bombed.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it still could be, but I mean, it's like riddled to nothing right now.
Yeah.
Oh, how many companies have left
They need the
here?
money.
But
They need
yeah,
the money.
U.S.
Yeah.
Steel was the main owner of it back in the day.
Back in the day, U.S. Steel was God.
Yeah, well, Republic Steel had it, U.S. Steel, and a couple other. Now it's just switches hands. It's
Yep.
like
They need
nothing.
the money, so that's why. Oh boy, this is not. This is.
And how many
It's
companies?
like a slumlord owns it, and they need the money.
Right.
They need the money from Japan.
Mhm.
Even the workers were saying the best deal is actually Japan buying it.
Mhm.
It's a better deal, and they'll make money. But
Yeah, in the end, it's really not. But yeah, that's what they'll
Right,
tell
but
us.
yeah.
But it's not, and
Yeah.
it doesn't help that everybody's moving there.
Oh,
I lived in South Florida years ago, and I had a friend. His father had a company, and he moved it to Puerto Rico because he didn't have to pay taxes, U.S. taxes.
Right.
He could hide his money, you know, all that shit, and he
Mhm.
could pay them pennies, basically pennies for his business.
Right.
You know, instead of keeping it in town and saying, "Hey, you know, help some people out."
Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame?
Yeah, Yeah, and he did that, and the guy was an asshole. I met him a couple times, and he drove I think a Bentley, and he thought he was big shit,
Of
and all
course
like
he
all
did.
my
Of course he did.
and my little cousins thought his son was so stuck up, and my little cousins, it was my little cousin's friend, and they thought they were the shit, and I talked to the guy a few times, and I ended up telling the guy to fuck off because he was
Right.
so snobby and stuck up. He talked down to people. And I'm a northern guy. I'm a snowbird.
Right.
I'm from the Cleveland area, and I was down there, and he tried that shit with me, and it's like, dude, you don't fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anything from you. You don't impress me.
So Primo says we only control food now.
What?
No, we don't
We
even
only
control the food.
now.
Chinese.
No. Why
The
do you think
Chinese bought a
this,
lot of that.
Teresa? Why do you think there's so many recalls lately on everything?
Oh, brother.
Okay.
Teresa, ask Lee Cole. He'll tell you. He was on a rant about that, especially in Texas.
Wow.
He's in Texas. He saw it.
Hi, Cindy.
They buy a lot of those farms.
Yes.
Chickens,
buy a lot of
cows.
those. We feed the world, Primo says. We feed the world.
Not anymore. The Chinese have a big, Mr. Smith, I don't know, maybe you can chime in on this, but I know Chinese, they have a lot of stake in the country, in our food now, as far as cattle farms and that.
The Chinese have a lot invested in the United States, and when I say invested, I mean like
For multiple things.
Acquisition of property and businesses and things like that, and
major things that they shouldn't have stake in, and the states are letting them do it.
Well,
I'm sorry for interrupting, Mr. Smith. I'm sorry.
It's the U.S. government that's letting them do it, not the states.
Exactly. No, it is. It's the U.S. government because the politicians get their kickback. They don't care. But at the same time, they're ruining everything, but they don't care because they're getting their kickback.
Right.
They don't give a fuck about us. I'm sorry for cussing, but I get a little passionate about it.
No, I get it. I totally get
And that's things that you will never see on TV, on Fox, CNN. I haven't watched news in years. My mother watches it.
We don't watch it anymore either. We get a lot of our information from the internet type of thing, like different just websites that we know that maybe we can trust, but
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I yell at my mother about it all the time. She'll sit and watch it, and she should be old enough to know better. And I yell at her about it. It's bullshit. They tell you what you want. They tell you what they think you want to hear.
They tell you what they want you to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. I mean, it's bullshit. It's politics in general.
No, it is.
Make sure it's Edwin, Teresa, before you put him up.
Yeah, he's got a wrench, honey, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah, so did mine.
Oh,
well, what do you think about this Trump's VP from Ohio? What do you think about him so far?
Well, what do you think, Chuck?
I just don't have a great feeling about him. I don't know why.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
A little too. I don't know what the word is for it. It's like if Trump comes to Trump and he's in charge, and Carol brought it up too. Something happens to Harris, and then the guy from Minnesota's in charge. Walz, he's in charge. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith. I don't have a lot of faith in either one of them. I think he's kind of arrogant.
He's inexperienced. He's inexperienced.
Yeah, inexperienced is maybe a better word for it.
Yeah. The Ohio guy.
Then again, who runs the country? So they're just figureheads. I mean,
Teresa, he's the real one.
So good was for this country. Well, when he was president, was that he was a great speaker. So he would tell people things, and you were like, "Yeah, that's great." It's like that sounds like a good plan. We're doing great.
Right.
and everything's okay and everything will be okay. And that's what you want the figurehead to tell you. But meanwhile, the buttons are being pushed and the in-play things are being pushed by other people. So
Sure.
kind of back off a little bit on credibility of, again, I think it was Mr. Smith, or maybe, I'm not sure who said it, but Trump's not a politician. So he's not going to take any of that crap. So he's,
That's true.
No, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
But if you look back, I don't know if you check on YouTube videos, but if you look back to, I don't know, the early 90s, maybe, there's YouTube videos where Trump had interviews and he actually made comments about how he
I'm
could
sorry.
actually just run the state. He could say this and say that, and everybody will believe him, and he could run for president, and Trump is president. You have to look on it, but the videos are there. He said this 30 years ago, and it's come to fruition. I shit you not. It's there.
Remember when Vance made all those negative statements about Trump publicly, right?
Yeah, now who's up Trump's ass?
It's a bunch of
Yeah. Now he's
now all of a sudden he's his best friend. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So is the other one.
All of them are like
again.
That female. What the heck is her name?
It's a bunch of bullshit. And like I said, the people that wear the hats, they
tinfoil
will believe that shit. But the people that have some kind of common sense will say, "You're kidding me, right? They insult your intelligence." It's like,
okay. So here's my question to everybody that's up there: which of the two people running will be best for the middle class?
I would say Trump and the guy from Ohio. The guy from Minnesota, that so-called VP, and Kamala.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We'll be worse off than the kid sniffer.
Well, she'll be all trying to help, or thinking that she's showing that all the people are on the streets. She'll clean the streets. She'll give all the people that aren't making any money.
Sure.
And to get them up out of
gonna
poverty.
Sure. Whose money is she using to do that?
Middle class's money.
Right. The ones that work 12-hour shifts, 6 days.
She'll be giving our tax money away. Like I said, she did that interview with Al Sharpton or whatever, and he interviewed her, and she said her first bill she would write in office is that she would give reparations to the African Americans for slavery. Now, I'm not prejudiced. I'm not, Miss Teresa, I'm not trying to say anything to mess your channel up.
No. Whoever's
listening, I know everybody is PC now. They're libtard. They get butt hurt super easy. But what the fuck kind of shit is that? I'm sorry about cussing. I'm sorry, but what kind of shit is that? And it's not going to happen, but if it does, like what is that going to solve? How are we going to progress anything? What are we going to solve? It's just a bunch of people, and it's not just one race, it's every race, because everybody's protected now. Everybody is coddled. Everybody can throw a card out and claim any kind of, I don't know, butt hurt, whatever they want to claim, right, to get something. What is that going to solve? I mean, it's not going to happen, but, and especially they don't even know anything about any of this. She just say hypothetically, she does cut that check, or if she's campaigning right now, and you ask anybody how they feel about if she cuts that check, their stance on it.
All right.
So, the background, what even slavery is. Like, what's the history of slavery? I bet they can't tell you a friggin' thing about it.
Oh, why don't you try going all the way back to the Greeks and Italians, to the Roman days?
Tactic.
Okay.
Exactly. You know what? It is. The Italians were slaveries to the Spains. I'm Italian Hungarian. The Italians were in slavery
Yeah,
to the
Italians were
Spaniards.
slaves, so were the Irish.
The Irish.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Irish. Yeah, my
And so
kids
were
are
the
half
Greeks.
Irish.
Yeah,
The Irish
we were all slaves at
were.
one point. Yeah.
That's
Every
right.
race, every race in this world at one time were slaves, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's going to use this as a tactic to get votes. But I bet none of them can tell you how, any history of it, why they deserve it. Tell them, write me an essay about how you agree with what Kamala says and why you deserve those reparations.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to write you anything,
Mm-hmm.
No,
you know.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So what would Trump do for the middle class, honey? What do you think Trump will do for the middle class? What do you think his plan? I mean, what do you think he's going to do anything for the hardworking people that work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day? They're trying to feed their families. They either have to have 2 jobs or 2 parents will work in 2 jobs. And you
Sure.
know, it's
Afford
like
medical plan.
can't afford their medical plan. Their car insurance is through the roof. The car insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, we're because of all the catastrophes that are going on in the world.
We pay for all
What?
the floods. We pay for all
Yeah.
the
We're paying for all the
damage
floods.
to the cars.
Yep,
Yeah,
all the damage,
all the fires burning all the cars.
all the tornadoes,
Yeah,
the
tornado.
earthquakes.
Sure. Well, I could say at
When does
least
it get to the point
My point
where
is like, what is Trump going to do? Everybody talks about it. Oh, we're going to help the
No.
middle class. I hear Harris. Oh, help it. It's all. Oh, I'm going to help the middle class. Oh, I'm going to help the middle class. I'm going to
Sure.
bring prices down. You haven't done it in 3 years. How are you going to do it? Like, what is going to make it? There's like no plan.
Coltrane, it's Chuck
Sure.
talking.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I
No,
can't
he doesn't
exact.
know who it was.
Oh.
I can't exactly say what he'll do, but I believe he'll try
You
to
bet
do
it's
what he
illegal.
can
What you
to level things out for us lower class people, middle class people, like he did before. He's not a miracle worker, but he did try to at least ease some of our tensions. He didn't give billions of dollars out to third world countries and try to
That's true.
convert them into something that they're not, that they don't want to be. You know,
Hi,
the inflation
Edwin.
wasn't crazy. Oh, hi, Mr.
Oh.
Edwin.
Hello, Edwin, sir. God bless
For
you.
instead of giving money to all these countries, all these third world countries, and keeping them in line or whatever the heck they're doing, you got to fix them. I mean, you look at the bridges. I mean, they did start doing that. You know, they started fixing bridges and the infrastructures and the roads and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know?
Trump did. He
Yes.
raised the national debt a little bit. He tried to do a few things. I know he won't give money away like Obama did and all these other retards did.
Well,
Obama country.
Whoever in power, you know, in the Senate, that's who controls what's going on.
Locally, yeah.
If
Yeah.
the Senate is if Trump gets in and the Republicans are not in charge of the Senate, the Democrats aren't going to let him do anything.
No, and the
That's true.
Democrat.
And
Yeah,
vice-
those are the tards.
Yes, and vice versa, by the way.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't claim any political party, but I just know that Trump, he won't try to bury us any worse than we are. I don't believe, because he did pull us out to a point. He did what, I mean, any president takes over, they take over the prior shitstorm. 4
Oh,
years
that-
is not
that's
enough to
big,
turn
yeah,
things
just-
around.
Yeah, he was just going to say
I was
that.
just going to make that point because everybody, you know, when there's some shit pile sitting there, excuse me, and now you got somebody coming in to clean it up. It takes a while just to clean it up. Never mind
4 years, 4 years is not enough.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. No.
But I tell you what, Trump's last presidency, I believe he did all right. If you can, you know, erase the debt, the national debt, 2-3 billion, whatever he did, you know, here and there, and unions, and I mean, he helped out. You know, he didn't make everybody rich, but he helped out.
See, I look at it like this. This is what, and I think a lot of middle class people look at it like this. You go to a store right now and buy a steak, and it's $21 a pound. You know what I mean, or whatever the heck it is. You know, they put something on sale for $12.99 a pound. I know inflation happens. I know all that kind of stuff happens. the trickle down effect. People don't have money. The farmers don't have enough money. The people that, the meat supply, all that stuff, the costs are way up on everything. So they start charging a lot more. But when Trump was in office, I felt like our money went a little further. Well, let's put it this way. I know it.
No, I agree.
Where it is right now.
No, I agree. He spread it. It might have been spread thin, but I believe he gave, like I said, like you said, those farmers, small business people, the people that are usually X'd out. He gave them at least a glimpse of hope.
Right.
He gave them a small window to succeed.
So to win me over, Harris has to go on there in these debates and explain what they're going to do to make things better. Not just say, on day one, I'm going to make things better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not.
You're not going to.
You're not.
Yeah, you're not. So tell me what your plan is. I would like to know a plan. I don't want to hear them picking on each other. I know Trump does that. It bothers me. Trump, he picks on the other one and says, you're stupid and you don't know shit.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, I know.
It's lame.
I know, but I want to hear.
Buster.
I want to hear what a game plan that you might.
Right.
Give me a game plan.
Sure.
Win me over at this point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't that Kamala Harris for years claim to be Indian or something?
Yes, she did.
And now all of a sudden what did she claim now? African American?
Now she's African American, but her father's from Jamaica.
Right.
I don't know if that's Jamaica Queens, but it's
Jamaica Queen.
Yeah, I don't know, but also Indian. So the fact is she's Jamaican and Indian. So she and at some point, this is also a thing that bothers me. When are we American? When are we just Americans? We're never.
What was Obama? Does he actually even have a citizenship? Obama, and he was president.
I know.
Wasn't he born
He was born in Hawaii.
Okay, Hawaii. Well, that's considered, but he was some other nationality, and he runs for president. Now he's something else. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
Miss
sure.
Teresa. Miss
Hi.
Teresa.
Hi,
Edwin.
Hi. Miss Teresa.
Yes,
please forgive me for interrupting your program. It sounds like a I feel that I am going to testify in front of a Senate committee. So Teresa,
your opinion is welcome.
Yes, your opinion is more than welcome.
So Teresa, I will refer to you as
Mr.
Madam
Edwin.
Chairman.
You have my back. I'll cut you a check.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Smith's got his helmet on, Edwin.
Miss Teresa, first, God bless you. God bless your dear family, Mr. Chuck, Charlie. Before I testify, can you give us an update? Can we have an update on? Can we have an update on Ryan?
Actually, we did a little while ago, but we'll say it again. Go ahead, Go ahead. That's Chuck's territory.
All right. Well, Ryan currently.
Look, you're gonna get to see his face.
You don't want to see my face.
I have to go turn the air conditioner on.
All right. So, yeah, real quick on Ryan. He's in Arizona. He had the surgery on July 3rd. So now we're over 2 months into this whole thing. He's got a lot of flexibility already with his arm. He's doing a lot of core training, doing a lot of strengthening. He's lost 4 pounds. His body fat is down. He's in really, really good shape. No throwing. He goes 6 days a week to the physical therapy place with the San Francisco Giants, and they have eyes on him. And they're doing. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to come back. He's ahead of schedule. He's supposed to start throwing some in December,
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Mr. Chuck, on
Yep.
behalf of my entire family and my wife and all my family and my friends here in Puerto Rico, may God bless your son, and in the name of God, in the name of the Virgin Mary, and may he be called to the major leagues.
Thank you.
Mr. Chuck,
Yes.
that way you have knowledge. My wife and I, we pray. We pray for your son every day, every day. So God bless, God bless your son, and God bless your entire family, and everyone on the panel, everyone that is in the panel, and everyone that is in the chat. My utmost respect, and God bless you all. I just want to clarify something with the utmost respect. There are many people, I am talking in general, I am not referring to anyone. There are many people that give wrong information about Puerto Rico. I live in Puerto Rico. This December will be 47 years.
Oh,
Puerto
wow.
Rico is a U.S. territory.
Yes.
We are under federal law. There are no tax breaks in Puerto Rico. Here in Puerto Rico, everybody pays taxes. We pay state and federal taxes. I repeat, there are no tax breaks. There are no tax breaks in Puerto Rico.
Right.
The cost of living in Puerto Rico is much higher than any of the 50 states.
Wow.
I repeat, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory since 1898. U.S. citizenship was granted in 1917. Being that Puerto Rico is a territory, we do not vote in the presidential elections. We only vote in local elections. But I want to be clear to everyone. I want to be clear. The cost of living here, our sales tax is 12%.
Wow.
12% sales tax.
Wow.
The cost of electricity, here in Puerto Rico is double than what it is in the States. We also pay for water. To live in Puerto Rico is very expensive.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify with the utmost respect. There are no tax breaks here in Puerto Rico. We used to have what we call a 936, Section 936. It was for all the American companies. But Congress eliminated that. And I just want to tell you all, Puerto Rico is under congressional and presidential and federal rule. And to be clear, we are all U.S. Puerto Ricans are as American as apple pie, because there is a lot of stereotype, and sadly, many people give information. I am sorry, many people are told. That is the correct term. There are many people that give information about Puerto Rico that is not correct.
Okay.
And being that I am born and raised in the great state of New York. I arrived to Puerto Rico in 1976. So I have been living in Puerto Rico since 1976. With all humbleness, I am a specialist in the topic of Puerto Rico. Why? Because I live here and I work here and I have raised my family here. So I just want to clarify, there are no tax breaks here in Puerto Rico. Life here is more expensive than any other state. And I want to be clear, we do not vote in presidential elections because Puerto Rico is a territory. Ms. Teresa, can you permit me just one more comment?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I speak with the utmost respect and love that I have in my heart. I appreciate Miss Teresa Murphy. I have known Teresa on YouTube for 3 years. It is my opinion, Miss Teresa Murphy is an uncut diamond. Is an uncut diamond. That is the opinion that I have of Teresa and Miss Carol Mahale, Mr. Smith, and the entire Teresa Murphy family. I want to clarify this. Please, everyone, what I am going to say now, just save it in your wallets. Just save it in your wallets and in your purses. Check this out. Let us make believe. This is just make believe. Let us say, instead of being on YouTube right now, let us say that we were all in Teresa Murphy's home.
Yeah, you're sitting around my table. Yeah.
Let us make believe that we are all the panel, everyone in the panel and everyone in our chat family. We are in the living room in Miss Teresa's home with Mr. Chuck. Let us say, listen to me carefully, everyone, with the utmost respect and love. Yes. Let us say that they break down the door. God forbid. They break down the door.
I got Mr. Smith here.
Yeah, I'm all right with Mr. Smith with me here. Yeah.
Okay.
Notice I didn't say I got Chuck here. I got Mr. Smith here.
Okay. Let us say that we are all in the living room and they break down the door. They put us all in chains. They separate us. And they put us in a ship as slaves, and they bring us to the new world, which is America. You see, that is what happened, because a lot of people do not understand the meaning of slavery. A lot of people do not understand what our African American brothers went through. Just imagine, you are living in your own country peacefully. And they invade your country, they take you, they chain you up, they put you in a ship, they separate you from your loved ones, they change your name, you do not know the language. You see, a lot of that is slavery. So if our African American brothers and sisters, if they are asking for reparations, it is my opinion that it is just. It is just.
Somebody get
with all respect, just think about it. We are in Miss Teresa's living room, and then we are taken by force. We are put in a ship. We are chained up. They beat us up. They degrade us. They spit on us. And then they sell us like slaves. That is unacceptable. That is ungodly. That is the same thing. That is the same thing they did to the American Indians. So that is my point. Go ahead,
Mr. Edwin.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Edwin. I'm sorry for interrupting, sir. But could you agree that just about every race at one time has went through that, and is not right in any sense? And could you also agree that we're in a modern day slavery right now, every country? I work with some Puerto Ricans. I grew up with many of them. And I work with some now, and they go back to Puerto Rico in the summertime, as well as Mexicans. And they say they make more money here. And when they go back home, the Puerto Ricans and Mexicans as well, they do very well when they go back. Now, you're there. I don't know. This is what they tell me. Would you agree with that, or what's your opinion on that, if I may ask?
Okay, to be clear, it doesn't matter where you are. Everyone that works hard, you see, I work hard, so I do very well. But to be clear, the information that I am giving you about Puerto Rico, it is reality, because I lived here for 47 years. And about the slavery, our African American brothers and sisters, there has been no slavery like our African American brothers and sisters. They were stripped. They were stripped of everything. So they deserve reparations, and also the American Indians. The American Indians, they took their land away and they put them in reservations. And let me tell you, they are reservations right now that don't have electricity, that don't have water. We imagine that. Look at the way we have treated our African American brothers. Look at the way we have treated the Indians, which are the real Americans, because we are all invaders. We are all invaders. We are sons and daughters. We are sons and daughters of immigrants, because the American nation, America, belongs to the American Indian. We are all invaders. That is reality.
Sir.
That is
I agree
reality.
100%.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
Anyway, Madam Chairman Teresa Murphy, thank you for giving me the time. Thank you for granting me this time. I give you a big hug. I kiss you on the forehead, Teresa, with the permission of Mr. Chuck, because if not, Mr. Chuck will castrate me. That is the way it is. That is the way it is. Okay.
Mr. Edwin,
Smith.
you know you're able to speak freely anytime. Your knowledge is greatly appreciated, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I give you a big hug. Mr. Smith, the people of Puerto Rico are waiting for the 500 heads of cattle we haven't eaten in a few days. And a big hug for Miss Carol Mahale. Miss Carol, God bless you.
God bless you too, Edwin.
A big hug. Okay.
Edwin, go to the port.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Go to the port. The shipment will be in soon. The cattle will be in the shipment soon. So go wait at the port.
Okay.
And I want my cut. I want my 5%.
Yes, Edwin, yes. Yes.
Mr. Retta, excellent live, and I feel like I testified in front of a Senate committee. So from now on, Retta, I will refer to you as Madam Chairman.
Thanks.
No, Mr. Edwin, your knowledge is always greatly appreciated. You've been around
Absolutely.
for a long time.
Everybody's
you've seen many things, and yes, and God bless you, Edwin. You are Mr. Edwin. You're a true gentleman, yes, and we always value your opinion. Always, sir. We always do.
Okay. So there you go.
Who else is on stage?
Primo.
Hi, Primo.
Hi, Carol.
There we go.
How are you?
Doing good. Thank you very much. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay. I know I've been reaching out to you and Maureen and even Teresa a little bit to get back unblocked from Angel, but I'm going to leave that go now.
She keeps saying she went through her whole block list. She can't find you.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it go. Just whatever.
Really? Well, we'll tell her again. Maybe she'll find you in there.
Primo, maybe he's not meant to be found.
I could be a wayward son.
You could be.
There you go.
But
not being found is always a good thing.
So, what is your opinion on the upcoming election? And give us your point of view.
I just want to know: is it Seymour Scagnetti that's talking to me as well?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for interrupting, but yes.
Okay, all right. Well, good to meet you, sir. I thought that was you. I just wanted to make sure.
Well, good to meet you as well, sir.
Angel, stop it. I'm there. Trust me, I've been trying.
Angel stuff, and I'm there.
I've been trying to say hello for the last 5 times.
You mean you haven't been able to get in her chat?
Nikki, if you've seen me, why didn't you say hello? Nobody will.
Well, she doesn't get to say hello to too many people. I mean,
I know Angel's like a half hour behind all the time. That's
yeah.
Nikki,
Oh,
Well, Mr.
Oh no,
Mr.
she's
Primo,
right now.
Mr. Primo, you have to understand that there's about 500 people that want to say hey to Angel all at the same time. She can't keep track of everybody.
That's true. That's a valid point.
Seymour, I've been saying hi to Angel for 4 years. 3. I'm not sure you've been there that time.
So, all right, Primo, tell us. Give us some of your input.
On what, sweetheart?
Well, just about.
Like who you're going to vote for somebody? What?
Okay, so just to give you a little background on my political views,
Yes.
last time I voted 2-party was Jimmy Carter.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a while ago.
Do you even know what a political view is, may I ask? That's a long time ago.
Hello, Mickey. No, dude, I create political views.
Yes.
That's what I did in Chicago for 7 years.
Okay.
For
Nice.
Cook County. Yeah. And I also learned a lot about the system when I started managing campaigns, and it was a mayoral campaign in Northlake, Illinois, back in 1994.
Do tell. We'd like to hear this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was the mayoral races in the whole area. And it's a suburban, a very near Chicago suburban area. So the mayoral races were contested. There was a lot of change going on, and I was representing change for Northlake. There was also change going on in all the surrounding suburbs. And the cool part was they all won by a landslide victory. And at that point, I thought we had our point taken, and that everybody was, because I'm a very big proponent of term limits and keeping the money out of the system. Because the oligarchs, as far as I'm concerned, control it, and they do, and they're not going to let it go.
No doubt.
Right.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that's what we're fighting. And the more they can divide us as a nation, the easier it is for them to win, because their people are already firmly entrenched. They're employed by the federal, state, and local governments. That's, I would say, about 80% of the electorate. So yeah, it's going to be rough to actually get some change going on. So then, and again, my stance on the whole thing is, I'm an independent. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously. So
Well,
go ahead.
Primo, I'm sorry for interrupting. Primo, would you agree that they dictate on how we operate, how we live, how we feel? They try to dictate on how we vote. They try to sway us in certain ways with their politics and their agenda, and I don't know, prisons, and they say reform, but prison, it really isn't exactly reform. They just put them in a cage, and they don't really reform them. They just put them in a cage and torture, and I don't know. I'm not into politics, but what's your opinion on that? Would you sort of agree, or correct me if I'm wrong, sir?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the cage torturing and shit, but as far as actual political shit goes, yeah, I mean, if they can keep us divided, that keeps them ahead, because their people are entrenched in the system. They know how many votes they have going into every election cycle, and trust me, they're accurate within 2%.
Well, sure.
I was there. Now,
I believe. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, I'm not sure what their long-range goal is, especially since the Rona in 2020, which was a clusterfuck of ultimate proportions. So, I'm not sure what the ultimate goal is for them, but, my whole thing is we're not going to get any real change until we get rid of term limits and keep the money out of the system. That's all.
Mhm.
Well, as people in the Senate is, I believe they have to do the same terms in the Senate as they do with a presidency.
Yes.
You know, these people in the Senate, they do 20, 30, 40 years, but how is it only presidency can only do 4?
They've been bought for a long time.
They've been bought for a long time.
Congress
You know.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah, both.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I think that's sort of maybe might not do, maybe, I don't know, might not do the greatest, but if you're going to start things like that, like Primo said, you should do terms for senators
Yes.
like they do with mayors and they do with in certain cities and they do with presidents. You do your 4 years and you take a walk, you know, collect your check. You want to collect your 80, 100K a year? Fine. Do your 4 years, take a walk.
Didn't Trump say that he was going to do term limits?
Yes,
I thought, yeah, right? I thought so. I mean, that's what he said, right?
but you need Congress.
No, I know, and the Senate has to vote for that, so.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
first you need Congress to do it and then the Senate.
Mhm.
Well,
That's
obviously
the
they'll
way
never,
that works.
yeah, they'll never vote for it, obviously. But Primo, I don't know. I mean, if you dabbled in a little politics, but I mean, you would agree, yes?
100%. And I've dabbled in a lot of politics. I ran 42 campaigns in a 7-year period. So,
Holy shit.
yeah, and I met the people controlling the money at the local level, and
There you
their only fucking motivation was to control different taxing bodies. If you had any kind of revenue that you could tax, they wanted to control it. And it was there was no rhyme or reason to it, and it disgusted me.
Well, they always said the mafia. They claim the mafia is, especially back in the day when they were strong. The mafia is bad. The mafia is this. The mafia is that. But the government really is the mafia. I mean,
that's the real mafia.
They took all the shit that the mafia did from the 1800s on up, the lottery, to this, to that, and they applied it to themselves, and I believe that's what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Seymour,
My opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, Seymour, very good point. Again, I was involved in the mid 90s, and that is the exact time in Chicago, because that's where I'm from, that the federal and state and local governments were taking all of the organized crime sources of revenue away. They took out the gambling.
And they adopted it as their own.
Well, yeah, but they waited like 2 years and then reintroduced it as a state program. And the lottery was probably the first back in the the 50s.
Oh, yeah, the lottery was definitely the first. I believe so. But I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
You're fine.
That's a fact. And so during that time, they took out all of the gambling, the poker machines, all the bar games that they had. And it was like a 2-year period where nothing happened. And then all of a sudden the state came out and reintroduced it. So they took it over.
Well, yeah, it's legal as long as they get their cut.
Yeah, and trust me,
Ain't that the truth?
in Chicago, a lot of the mayors, a lot of the aldermen and shit like that are holding office were already affiliated. That they knew they were associated with a lot of organized crime. So organized crime is essentially legit back in Chicago and part of the government. So there are
Sure was.
Yeah, there are still.
It was
Well, sure. They all got their cut, so they'll, as long as they get their cut, it's legal. Period. You can't run numbers in the neighborhood for like the common people like they did in the 20s and 30s and 40s. The government will dub any of that illegal. To pull open tabs or whatever, it's illegal in their eyes unless you pay for that license and they get their cut.
Right. And when they took it away from the people who are considered organized crime, they put a block on so there are people that can't own them, you know. So they
Sure.
had to find a way to get around that, and a lot of them created LLCs and corporations to do that. So.
Right.
Yeah, the loopholes, the whatever. Yeah, they're all vampires, them governments, you know, and they don't, you know, back then, you know, a lot of people in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, some of them did it just to make a living. You know, maybe a lot of them got greedy, shit got dirty, you know, things got ugly.
Yeah.
But I know in the end, for a lot of them, it was just to make a living to support their families. The government hated it. They attacked them. It was a smear campaign. It was the worst thing in the world. But
Right.
now the government's doing the very same thing that they held their fucking campaign against, you know, the
Yep.
so-called mafia or whatever, you know, organized crime. They're doing it to this day.
And I've seen, trust me, I've seen the two parties turn on local candidates who are legitimate candidates who
Oh, yeah.
should be elected, actually, and they would turn, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars against just minimal opposition. You
Sure, because they're not going along with what they want, right? It's like politics. If you're not going to go along with them and help make that couple extra dollars and swindle and whatever, you're not invited into our club. Fuck off.
Teresa.
And trust me, my first election was a mayor in Northlake, and he's still.
All right, hold on. Go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Smith.
Am I the only one, Teresa, that thinks Primo is somehow related to Christopher Walken?
What?
Because he was talking, he's like, well, back in Chicago, we were playing the casino machines.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Primo might have ran a couple books for him. I don't know.
He talks like him. He talks like him a little bit. Well, he enunciates his sentences like that. Yeah.
No, Primo. I think Primo knows the deal. He just doesn't go by all the greasy shit they stand for.
That is the first. I have not been accused of sounding like Walken. Thank you, 556. You jag off.
Well, he did have a badge after all. You can't. He is kind of profiling, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as they say, we don't need no stinking badges.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking badges.
We'll take care of him separately.
You'll be fine.
So there's a lot of that behind the scenes, huh, Primo? I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, I do a lot of behind the scenes. I talk to some people behind the scenes, you know.
Well, Primo, how many years were you in that fold, if I might ask?
So I did in the political fold.
Yes.
Yeah, so about 7 or 8 years, from like 94 to 2002, 3, right around there. My last big play in the political front was I was a delegate to the Reform Party convention in 2000. That's when Patrick Buchanan stole the party.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of.
He stole the Reform Party at the behest of the Republicans.
Right.
Now, how easy did they steal that party? Since you were behind the scenes, somewhat. You had to see some greasy shit.
Dude, there was fist fights and stabbings on the floor.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
Yeah, it got real fucking heated for sure.
Yeah, see, I would walk away from that. That's why I don't do politics, man. When I would bartend, I'd say no religion, no politics, because it gets heated.
And you know what? See, my stepfather was a bartender, and I've got a lot of story. But he was that guy that could just charm you to death in 5 minutes when you were talking to him.
I bet my old man too. He owned a few bars over the years, but that's one of the first things that I was taught coming up. No religion, no politics, because shit gets ugly really fast.
Yeah,
it really does. But you know
what? When people are very passionate about their beliefs, so they, A lot of
And
people have closed minds too. Like you have your beliefs and everything, but you have to let the other person have their beliefs too. I mean,
Exactly. And I don't hold
one thing
anybody's
doesn't mean-
beliefs against anybody, but I don't want to sit and watch somebody kick the shit out of each other over it after they had
No.
about 10 shots and 15
Yeah.
beers or whatever, you know.
Well, isn't that
Take
like
that-
the
take
typical
that outside.
no religion, don't talk about religion, politics, and yeah.
Well, I do that at my house. I do that at my house too, you know. Not many of my friends are into that, but some of them are heavy believers in the politics and a few in religion, and I'm Roman Catholic myself. I'm a bad Catholic. I used to gamble and drink on Sundays. So I'm not a stand-up Catholic, but I still to this day I don't family, friends, whoever, I don't want people in the same room discussing it because it never ends well.
This
Even
kind
with
of
family, I've seen
Yeah.
my own family turn on each other over it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We've had
I
friends
don't-
that would
Yeah.
like walk out. It's like, what are you walking out for, man? It's like
Yeah.
You
we
know.
are all entitled to our opinions, and it's fine. You want to believe that?
Yes.
It's cool. You believe it.
Yes,
We're
you
not
can
taking it away from you. We're just, but you don't tell me what to believe.
no,
You don't have the right to tell me what to believe.
exactly.
it's-
And our opinions in the end don't matter because we get
That's
fucked
right.
over anyways.
That's
So
right.
So why kill each other over it, you know?
That's
Pardon my
right.
French. I'm sorry, Miss Teresa. Pardon my French.
No, it's okay, honey.
But we bury ourselves over it in the end anyways. It sounds like Mr. Primo was smart and, you know, stayed back.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to everybody is to get involved. You know, if you have
If you have a strong opinion, and if it's that strong that you're going to be fighting over with people and knocking their asses on the floor, then get involved. Then do something.
yes, and in my neighborhood, and again, I was from a town with a population of 11,000, and I had 300 people working for me on the streets.
And Chicago's tough anyways.
Yeah, Chicago's real tough, and people.
Yeah, they're real tough.
And people, you know, when they put a fucking yard sign in their yard, they will fucking kill you. If you
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I believe it.
I had 300 of those people working for me during local elections, and we reminisce to this day about the old days in 1995. And
It's turned out well.
Did you pass any of those signs out, Primo, or were you the smart one and had other people pass them out for you?
Well, let me tell you, I not only printed the signs, I also passed them out and controlled the whole evolution of the thing. So I was
Buffalo Billy and Mrs. Smith with the beers. Yeah, no, go ahead. You printed them, and you also you have to ask, of course, to put them on people's lawns, right?
Oh yeah. So when our people were passing them out, they already knew who was a plus. We had already, done the streets. We had already, knocked the doors and found out who were pluses and who were minuses.
Right.
So we knew where the signs were going to go. We knew how much support we had. So
right.
It was an easy, it was easy to print the sign. I also had a printing company, so I printed the signs as well. But I didn't take a political job. Just to let everyone know, I could have.
Well, you put a sign.
I'm right there with you, Mr. Smith.
You have to even watch a house. It's like ridiculous. You got. I mean, they'll egg your house. They'll do. It's like what the.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I believe it. You knew which neighborhoods to go to, which ones not to go to. Every delegate or whatever, I'm sure, had their own county or district or whatever, so you knew where to go and where not to go, I'm sure.
Yeah, like Chuck says, you have to read the room. If you read the room,
sure.
Then you know whether
whether or not you can have those discussions. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, Primo, maybe back then, if you had Mr. Smith back then, maybe you could have tossed him a couple bucks, a little envelope. He might have helped you out. You could have got a few more extra votes.
Never been
So
corrupt
you're
in my
saying
life.
Smitty had some sort of power?
What was that?
What was that?
That was weird.
Sounds like something's going by.
It's not me.
It's not me.
The heck was that?
Sounds like a car went by.
Was that a toilet bowl flushing? What the
Seymour,
heck?
where the fuck are you? Seymour's on the runway ready to fucking leave.
Seymour, you all right?
I'm
I'm
fine.
fine. I think that's Seymour, I think.
Yeah, it is Seymour. That's Seymour.
Are you outside?
I was, but I'm back in again.
Okay, that's fine.
Uh-oh, am I messing the stream up?
Sounded like intrusion aircraft.
Yeah. I thought maybe like one of those.
Well, if it was me, I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
I'm
sure-
glad. I actually
I'm
really.
not sure where we left off. So go ahead, Teresa.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really glad that we see how you can have a group of people, as long as you read the room, of people who are passionate about their beliefs and you can understand their points of view and what they want from their, what they want their president to do for them
Yeah.
without going crazy.
Well, and it's nice to have somebody like Mr. Primo that was actually in it, and from his point of view, because you don't actually get that a lot of days.
Mm-hmm.
No, and trust me, the people actually on the streets doing the work.
It's Seymour.
Okay, that interesting sound.
Look at Mr. Smith's face.
That's either a lot of crickets or he's got a really powerful bomb.
It sounds like an aircraft to me.
It does. It sounds like a plane.
Yeah, something like going low over your head.
Right. Or it sounds like when cars pass on the street and it's wet outside. That's what it sounds like.
I can always drop off. I don't want to interrupt the panel.
No. It's fine. Are you back inside now?
Get off the
Actually-
runway.
No, actually, I'm outside now.
Oh, okay. Well, wherever you were walking by, were you walking by an air conditioner? Could've been
Yes,
that.
I was actually.
Okay, so that's what it was. It was the air
Oh,
conditioner.
okay.
It was
I
flushing
apologize.
you.
I thought he was on a fucking aircraft carrier.
Is Angel still here?
Yeah.
She's in the chat somewhere. Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi to her. I don't know if I said hi.
Angel.
Well, yeah,
Primo says hi to you again.
I didn't like Mr. Primo's politics, so I had to blur it all out for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what didn't you like about my politics? Seymour!
I'm not sure. I just didn't like. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just blindly tried to blur it out like most people do.
Very, very honest of you. I appreciate that.
It's fun.
And trust me, this is why I don't get involved in a lot of political arguments. My whole thing is just get involved. If you're not sure, go volunteer for a mayor or any local candidate and find out what fucking makes the whole process work.
Yeah, for people who are that passionate about it, who want to fight and rage and, then put all that energy into doing something for your cause with your candidate. 100%. Absolutely. I agree with that.
I agree. That's why I just don't do politics.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then you just don't. Yeah, we don't either.
This was touchy.
This was touch and go. We were just like want to try it, want to try it. I said, listen, having a conversation with people around the table, it's just a conversation. The minute that you start getting really, really passionate and you can't handle it, then that's when we say, okay, that's good. That's good. We're good.
I believe it's been a good discussion. And it's rare. You really can't do that anymore on YouTube or off of YouTube. You can't
that's
do
what
it.
I wanted to prove to everybody. You can do it. You can. It just depends. You got to read the room. You got to see what the people, how they're going to take,
If they have the ability to be able to speak and listen.
speak and listen. Yeah.
Right.
Speak and
And
listen.
I've not heard too many with actual people involved in the process. So these are just people commenting from the outside. Very seldom do you get people who are actually in it talking about it.
Right, exactly. And it's I love it. I love the fact that you did all that, background stuff that we can know about it, because we are not there. We don't do the stuff for it, so we don't know what's going on.
Well,
So Primo, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I can ask, what made you walk away from politics, like in general, like your full?
Well, you ran campaign, right? You ran campaigns.
So yes, I ran 42 campaigns over 7 years, and I never helped anyone for a second term. In other words, if I helped you get in, good. If you were going for re-election, I didn't help you.
Okay.
You already, I'm expecting you to step down after. If you win the next one, you should step down. And they all knew where I was coming from.
So even if they were doing well with it and everything, you still didn't back them?
Correct. Yeah, correct. And the mayor that I first put in office in North Lake, Illinois, is still there. He's doing a great job. But the bottom line is you should have handed the reins over after two terms, and you didn't. And you said you would. And that's the part that bothers me. It's like they
don't.
Correct. And once you prove that to me that you fucked up, we're done.
Yeah.
And that's I take a lot of pride in not helping anyone for a second term. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the first term aldermen, people on the same ticket, stepped down after like 3 years, seeing that the mayor didn't live up to what he said he was going to do. So half of the aldermen that were on his slate left.
So that was can I ask you again? I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I ask you again if you say you helped whoever the candidate was for a couple terms, you helped them, they ran for a couple terms. Say if you helped another candidate against them, was there a lot of blowback on you, or?
Yeah, so here's the deal. I wasn't a scumbag. I didn't help people to oppose the guy. I just stayed out of it. It's like, and then he came to me.
No, sure.
Yeah, he said, are you going to play in this one? And I said, no. And then he said, thank you. And so that meant if I wasn't playing, that meant he was saving like $500,000.
Sure. Well, I'm not asking like you intentionally help somebody run against them, but as far as your beliefs go, and maybe you thought the next person would do just as well, when you helped them go into that term to follow them up, or did you have a lot of blowback? Was there a lot of people that, you hear a lot of rumblings? Were they against you? Was there like, smear campaigns towards you, or any kind of rumblings in the neighborhood towards you?
Oh yeah. And let me tell you, man, if you think MobTube has scumbags, you gotta fucking be the local political fucking scumbags.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
think politics are the scumbag of scumbags. Politics, in my opinion.
And they're all fucking lawyers. They all fucking have access to all the information. They can look everything up.
And they're looking for every loophole and all that shit. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I hate lawyers. That's the main reason I hate lawyers.
Were you ever? Did anybody ever try to like bring you in on some kind of smear campaign towards another candidate?
So let me tell you.
Maybe you told them to fuck off, or.
Let me tell you the story. When I helped the first mayor run against the mayor who was entrenched for like 5 terms, he was in there for like 15 years. And I was helping the new mayor run against him. They had a SWAT team come to my house and fucking put me at gunpoint and arrested me for helping the new mayor. I was running a newspaper in town. And they said,
shit.
That's against the law here, motherfucker. And they They took me to
They'll
jail.
do that. That's politics for you. I believe it.
That was a lawsuit that lasted like 12 years. And I actually won it, but I didn't take any money because I was like, fuck them, So
Yeah,
But
you just wanted to walk away. Yeah.
I was proving a point, and I was.
Yeah,
let
yeah,
me
you're
tell you,
proving a point.
I made the front page of the Chicago Tribune and Sun Times back in 1995. I was on like page 1 and 2 of those papers about, because it was like, guy gets arrested for freedom of speech. It's like that was a classic. And,
Oh my God.
and my lawyer that helped me in that period, the guy that they gave me, and it was the part, again, I was running with a local guy who had support of the local Republican Party, and they gave me a lawyer. And so that lawyer is now a Illinois Supreme Court judge.
No shit.
Yeah, and he was good. He was good, though. He was the only lawyer. If I had to pick a lawyer I liked, that would be the guy. I'm not going to say his name, but he was an appellate court judge. I'm not sure if he's Supreme Court now or not, but he probably
Did they ever get any kind of lawyers in that situation to flip against your party and kind of run a smear campaign against you or the party you were with?
Oh, dude, let me tell you, they were smearing me every fucking week. They were putting fucking mailers out every week about me. And they were making shit up, just like it happens in MobTube. They were putting that shit out every week.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Smear campaigns.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
They were smearing me, not the candidate. They were smearing me. So it was, I had all my and again, I had 200 people on the street, and they were coming back going, "What's this?" And I'd say, "What do you think it is?" And so they knew.
Well,
they knew.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but in general, how did your following, how did the party or the party you were representing, how did they feel about that when that smear campaign went on? I mean, did you have most of your following, or did a lot of them turn against you? Because I'm sure some turned against you, obviously. But I mean, in general, how was it?
Yeah, the bottom line was my guy won 70-30. So their smear wasn't very effective.
And so your I don't know, your campaign, your reputation, your neighborhood, your district or whatever, it was fine then. Everybody knew better. They couldn't brainwash people, I guess, in general.
It was a good outcome for sure. Yeah.
So you had people with brains and they fucking knew better.
Yeah, I had 200 people who were working for me as block captains, precinct captains, just different, ward captains. And so I had an organized structure. So my people were firmly with me. They knew they knew me, so they knew that all this shit was wrong.
Sure. I mean, not even those people, but I'm talking about the masses in general through the counties and the districts, and overall, they obviously knew better than to, adhere to what the smear campaign was.
Yeah, in my town, there was only 11,000 people in my town. Of those 11,000, I think only 4,000 were registered voters. Of those 4,000 registered voters, only 2,000 actually voted.
Wow.
So we focused on the ones who voted. In other words, if you've been on the list for fucking 30 years and you never voted, stay at home. Thank you.
Right.
Goodbye. We don't care.
Well, sure. Right. And that's sad. That's sad. But a lot of people, even to this day, in any state, any county you go to, a lot of people, I think, have that mentality of, I'm registered, I can vote, but who fucking cares who I vote for, because they can just change the votes and do a recount. And why does it matter? They have that mentality, even though they say to vote and the vote does count. But in the end, they have those recount. I mean, it's just a mentality, and that's sad. Did you experience that a lot?
Yeah. So, again, people who voted, as long as you voted, that's who we focused on, and we had pretty good. We knew who was voting. We had our pluses and minuses all done. 3 months into it. So. We did again. Most people don't vote, and that's the weird. That's the part.
A lot of people don't vote. Yep.
No, but I'm sure it does help being in a smaller sector like you were in, a smaller county or community.
Yeah.
So you might only get the half, but in the end, that 2,000 probably is the majority for what you're running for or what you're pushing for.
Yeah,
Am I
actually,
correct?
the magic number was 1,600. So we were shooting for 1,600 pluses from day one. You know, so no matter which ward, which block it was coming from,
Yeah.
you know, we just wanted to make sure. It's like, make sure whoever you're talking to, you know, is actually, you know, going to vote. You know, so
Sure.
it's hard to gauge, you know, when you're talking.
And they weren't like a sector of libtards, a sector of Democrats, Republicans. They just all actually had brains and got together and voted for the better person.
Yeah, my strategy was to have people knocking doors who were in the neighborhood. In other words, you lived on that block or you lived the next block over. So you knew your neighbor. So that's how we tried to keep it. You know, we didn't send people who were fucking coming from the county who wanted to win the election to randomly knock doors. We didn't do that. You know, so,
I've had that. Yeah, I've lived in multiple states over the years, and you have, you know, you have each party coming through and knocking on doors, and they want to talk your ear off for like an hour, and you know, push shit on you, and you know, whatever. It's so.
Yeah, and 556.
You know.
I want to talk about the for Robert.
Do you guys want to get a room or?
Do you want me to drop the link?
Carol, I want to hear from Carol.
Yeah, I apologize if I'm asking too many questions.
No, you're good. You're good, Bonnie. This is what I want.
Hey,
Seymour, I appreciate your questions. Thank you.
Well, I you know, I want to talk to somebody that was actually in it, you know.
No, yeah. But humor's a good part of life. Humor's a good part of life.
Oh, well, of course.
That's all.
You have to have some humor, obviously. I've known a few mayors from a few towns, and they were drunks and whatever, but they actually made good is when they could, you know, and unless they were outvoted, you know.
Thanks, 556. You're the best.
Yeah, he's great. He always puts a little levity in there.
Well, he's good for that.
And
he's a good dude.
I'm
just messing around. It's funny. Whatever. I'm sorry.
Come on, you have to do it. You have to sometimes.
All right. So what we're going to do, guys, is after the debate, we'll hold another town hall, and we'll see what goes on then. I'm sure we'll have plenty of info to talk about.
Well, no, yeah, you get everybody at the town hall, and you have a pig roast.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have some beer and you have some booze and you feed everybody, and hopefully nobody kicks the shit out of anybody. You don't have a riot, you know.
And you know what, Seymour? At every fucking rally we had with our volunteers, we had food. That is the pig roast is definitely the deriving that keeps everybody involved.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with that. Pig roast or I don't know, a crawfish boil or, you know, something.
Look,
promote stability.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, you promote stability and happiness and, you know, whatever, if you can.
Yeah. No, so that's what we'll do. So it was September 14th, Carol?
No, it's Tuesday night.
Oh my goodness. Really? Oh, it's Tuesday night. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's soon. Okay.
Don't take a nap, Teresa.
I know. All right, so
I
want you
guarantee-
all back here next Wednesday night.
and I just want to let everyone know, too, on the fundraiser thing. It looks like they're letting Rob out of jail soon. So I'm going to be canceling the fundraiser once he gets let out. He won't need the money anymore. So we've raised enough to cover his 2 months that he's been the last 2 months. So that was good.
Oh, okay.
So, and I know I've tagged you guys in it. So I just want to let you know where we're at. Once I know what's happening with him, I'll put it out there on my channel so everyone will get the update.
Oh, you're so good. Such a good guy.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So how about we call it an evening? Can we call it an evening?
I agree.
Is that good? Okay.
Yep.
We've been,
Teresa,
we've been on for almost 3 hours. That's good.
Thanks for having me on there.
Oh, well, thanks for coming up, honey. Thanks for coming up. It was awesome.
Yeah, you guys have a great rest of your weekend.
Yes, you too. All right. All right. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. See, we could do it. We could do
Yeah, I'm
it.
gonna go take my meds.
Oh.
Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
man.
Thanks for having
You guys have to come on over our house and just hang out, and we can have a campfire. It's fall. We can have a campfire. We could all discuss politics around the campfire, but don't throw anybody in it.
Can I leave my husband home?
Sure, if you want to. I mean, whatever you want. All right. So, any last statements before we go?
Nah, honey.
Just thank you for putting on this live and having us on here. So
yes, thank you, honey.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. It was nice. It was really good. I think we did a good
All
job.
right. You and Chuck have a good night. And Mr. Smith, I'm sure I'll be talking to you somewhere tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll probably I'll look and see where you guys are at.
Well,
all right, well, thanks
trouble.
everybody, and thanks everybody in the chat. Thank you, all the moderators in the chat did a great job, and we really, really didn't have it. I just saw one thing, but that was about it. So we did good.
Well, you did good.
Yay! All right. Good night, everybody. Good night,
All
Carol.
right. Good night, Teresa. Love you.
Love you too, babe. Bye.
Bye. How do I get out of here now?